Hey everyone, and welcome to Comics from the Multiverse, the DC Comics podcast from Mail Fuzz TV. I am Peter, and joining me, as always, is Matt.
Yeah, what's up?
Connor's not here. Connor couldn't make it this week, which was planned. We knew he wasn't coming. So we've got all our best Connor material.
So that means
ready.
Doomsday Clock had a sneak release, and he's not here to talk about it.
Yeah, issue 7 was so good, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
We'll talk about that. No, so Connor's not here. He'll be back next week. But we do talk about comics on this show, DC Comics specifically. And coming up on this week's show, we have Justice League number 6. We have Batman 53, Green Lanterns 53, Batgirl 25, Batwoman 18, Aquaman 39. And that's it, because it's a fairly light week. We have 6 total books. We did say we might cover Sandman Universe this week. That's not happening for a couple of reasons. One is I read the first couple pages before I fell asleep last night.
You were trying to enter the dreaming.
Yes.
Let's just be real.
Yes, it helped. That's all I'm saying. But no,
Yeah.
it's not that it was bad. It seemed like it was maybe going to be very good. It's hard to say. But I can reveal that the winner of the Patreon vote for this month's Comics Monthly, which obviously is a Patreon exclusive show that me and Connor do every month, is Sandman Volume 1. So,
Connor just finished Sandman.
I know.
He has to restart now. That's hilarious.
When I got up and I was like, I could squeeze it in, like, because it was a long issue as well. And I was like, am I just better waiting reading the first Sandman story instead? Like this
I feel like you did need, from the 4 or 5 pages I read, you do need a little bit of familiarity with that world.
Yeah.
For things to make sense. I got to a point where there was a raven named Matthew, and I'm just like, what am I reading?
Yeah. So and that's the other thing. Connor's the one who's read Sandman. Connor's the one who knows what he's talking about with Sandman. It felt weird for us to do it. So no Sandman Universe issue 1. Although I'm sure Connor, I didn't know Connor did read it since last week. He can give some thoughts next week, off the cuff.
Yep.
But so that's not happening. But it is a lighter week, so we did ask for questions on the Twitters, and we got some in the Twitters and the YouTube comments. So we'll do some of that. What's bizarre is normally week 3 is when we have the most news, because normally that's solicits week, or at the very least it's the build up to solicits. Bizarrely, I'm still expecting solicits on Monday, because they're overdue at this point. I think because it's a five Wednesday month. They're a little bit later than normal, which is fine. It does mean though that there's not been there's only been one thing that's popped up in the news this week, pre-solicits, which is weird. Usually there's a couple of things like saying, "Hey, this is happening. There's a new book launching," or "There's this."
Yeah, almost like a tease.
Yeah. So there's not been much this month at all. So that tells me that the solicits are probably not that they're not super exciting. I guess it just means that we got so much about November from Comic-Con that there was nothing else to announce or talk about.
Yeah.
So
They
makes
don't
sense.
really need to double down.
Yeah. So so not a ton of news. We do have sales though. We got sales to talk about, Matt.
Oh
Your
yeah,
favorite.
numbers.
Yeah, numbers are great.
Like Chinese algebra.
What? Why
You
is
never
that?
heard that?
No.
Yeah, so that's weird, because if you don't know the Chinese characters, everything looks the same, so you can't differentiate between numbers and letters. You know? Whereas algebra, you're looking for a hidden figure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anytime math gets involved, I said it's always Chinese algebra to me. You start throwing numbers at me and my brain shuts off. But y'all want to talk about Civil War history, I can hang.
Good to know. So, so we'll start with the sales. Actually, I think let's start with the big leading stuff. The sales talk to happen. July's numbers are in, the top sales are in, and the estimates of sold are in. And it was a pretty big month. The top 10. There's only 2 books in the top 10. Obviously, number 9 and 10, which are under 100,000. So. That's pretty notable. It's a pretty healthy month in terms of sales. Matt, can you guess what number 1 was?
And this is for the month of July.
Yes.
Was there a new Spider-Man in July?
There was.
So I'm going to guess Spider-Man.
You're guessing Amazing Spider-Man number 1, which was $5.99 for reference. That sold 289,000 copies according to this. And when I say according to this, I'm on Comicron's website looking at their monthly sales. That was number 2.
Oh, so there's something sold more than Amazing Spider-Man 1. What was another? Was it? It's either Superman or Action Comics. Which one? I might be too hopeful.
Neither.
Son of a bitch.
Sorry, Matt.
Um, what else came out? Fantastic Four didn't come out till now.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, I got nothing. I don't want to. Yeah, Batman. It's always Batman. What am I? It's Batman, isn't it? It's Batman 50.
Batman 50 was number one.
Yeah, I try not to do that. It's always Batman.
Joe, I love about that though. Amazing Spider-Man number one. No, we don't care about that. Batman's still, but even at issue 50, Batman's still bigger.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they did have the wedding, so longtime fans are curious there. Plus, it's a milestone. I feel like
hold on a second. They had the wedding.
Well, you know what I mean. Up to that point, we figured it was still going on.
They promoted
right?
the wedding for sure. I'll concede that much.
But in this current climate of renumbering and revoluming, 50 is a milestone more so than one, because you're always getting a new number one.
Oh sure, yeah.
So, but the fact that you had a new team on Spider-Man, that's what made me initially think. Plus the price of it alone, that usually adds to some ballooning. It's like IMAX numbers on a new blockbuster, you know?
Yeah. I mean, keep in mind though, these are ranked by units, not by.
They are.
By money or revenue rather.
Okay.
So, so Spider-Man said 289,000. Batman 50, the estimated number sold is 440,000. So those variants did very well.
Yeah.
Because you see all the time, a lot of the places and a lot of comic shops will do the set, you know, excluding the ones that are like, you know, 1 in 100 or whatever, but they'll do the set of all the regular variants, and people will buy like a complete set for, you know, I don't know how many there were, but there was a lot. There was a lot. It was probably like $50 or something to get a full set. I don't know. But yeah, so that was number 1 and 2. But there was actually more number ones. What do you think number 3 was, Matt?
Now I'm gonna say Superman.
I'm sorry, it wasn't Superman.
Action Comics.
It wasn't Action Comics.
Okay, those are gonna be my next guesses if you keep asking me until they hit.
It was a number 1 though. I'll give you that clue. It was a number 1.
What else came out that was a number 1?
Which tells you how successful this Marvel wave of number ones is that you can't remember.
No, because I don't. Unless it's by Jason Aaron, I really don't pay attention to Marvel.
Yeah, it was Captain America number 1.
Oh yeah, I read that. It wasn't bad.
167,000 that did. Number 4 was not a number 1.
Batman 49.
No, it wasn't.
51.
51 was the other issue out in July, but it wasn't that.
Yeah. Okay. Man, I got nothing.
Doomsday Clock number 6.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah. So Doomsday Clock's still doing very well. I mean, 135,000.
I'm sure people have fallen off because of the shipping schedule, and they're just gonna be like, I'll just pick it up when I can pick it up. They're not, you know.
Not as.
Yeah, I need to know what's going on as soon as it comes out.
It's my highlight of every other month, quite frankly. So
yeah, that's right. That's right.
I will keep having it. Thank you very much. Number 5. What's your guess?
Yeah, I'm gonna keep doing it. Action Comics 1001.
Not Action Comics.
Superman 1.
It is Superman issue 1.
Ah, nailed it.
At 133,000 is what that sold. So Superman.
Have you ever seen She's All That?
I have seen She's All That, believe it or not.
So they go to the dad's house and he's watching Jeopardy and he just keeps answering things wrong, but he's so confident that he's right. Like it's that tone of voice. That's what I'm striving for, you know.
Yeah, I feel like that's just kind of Connor in a weird way, like every day.
Well, it's Connor in life.
Yes.
He said there was a post on Twitter last night that he responded to about the worst self-injury he's ever done. And apparently he injured himself sneezing, which that's the most Connor story I've ever heard.
Yeah, I can't say I've ever injured myself sneezing. I've not had a lot of big injuries actually. I mean, I feel like a stubbed toe is kind of the worst thing I've done to myself.
That's because you don't leave the house enough, Pete.
I leave the house.
You know.
I was never much of a climber as a kid, so I never really got myself into a a lot of scrapes.
I'm currently nursing a hurt shoulder. I don't know what I did to it, but I learned that I can't bench press what I normally do with a hurt shoulder without it hurting it worse. So, yeah, I couldn't put my seatbelt on in the car last night. That's how
Mm.
bad it is. So, and it's just a common, at my age now, common aches and pains are just a part of life.
Hey Matt, don't you just love that you can say at my age now? That's the thing that's in
I
your
know.
vocabulary.
And I'm not even, and the people at work yell at me that I'm not even that old. So,
Well, that's the
it's
thing.
just,
If you're the youngest one out of the group, they'll make lots of young jokes, even if
yep.
you're like old compared to like another group who's
Yeah.
Um, I think at this point though, we're both at the point now where there's people who have been like who are now like adults who are like 10 years younger than you.
hmm
Not even
It's
me
weird.
actually at this point. Yeah.
Yeah, like my younger brother, I keep thinking is a teenager, and he's not. He's in his 20s. So it makes even the stupid things that he continually does, but they get worse and worse every year because you're supposed to know better by now. Uh,
So number 5 is Superman with
yeah.
133,000. Not bad, not bad.
Oh,
Keep in mind that's very close to Doomsday Clock. It was only 2,000 less than
yeah.
Doomsday Clock. Number 6 was another number 1, Matt.
So that means it's not Action Comics 1001 because that's a 1,000, which means it's probably Marvel, right?
No,
No? What else came out from DC that's a number one? Is it not DC?
no, it's
Is
DC.
it a
It's
weird?
DC.
It is? What the hell came out? I lose track of numbers at this point. Now I just know it's the new issue. That's how.
Number 6 is Catwoman issue 1
Oh, that's right.
with 121,000. So that's actually
Uh,
really good for Catwoman.
that
That's a
is.
solid debut.
I feel like it fell off in orders because my shop didn't have a lot of number twos as many as they
Hmm.
did number ones. So we'll see how that is next month.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that's usually the case with the number
hmm
ones though, unless it's something that's huge in general.
Yeah.
Number 7 is a number 2. So the number 1 was already on the
Yeah.
list.
So that means that's be Captain America too.
We're forgetting Spider-Man, which was above that.
Oh, is that double shipping?
It was last month at least.
Ah, okay, I didn't realize it was double shipping. That's why I didn't say Spider-Man. I know Captain America is
Hmm.
because I have an issue sitting there to read
Well,
from one of my friends.
I don't know if they're both double shipping. They might be on that 18 a year schedule that Marvel likes to do, where
Yeah,
it's kind of off and on. So like one single,
yeah,
one
yeah, yeah.
double.
Because I know because I do have my buddy gave me his Captain America 2 to read because he wants me to read Captain America. So
Hmm.
after I read the first issue, so I still have that to read. So
But
that was
yeah,
fresh in my mind.
so
Man, disappointed Immortal Hulk's not showing up because that book's so good.
yeah. I mean that did 113,000. So obviously there's a drop off from issue 1, but that's a pretty
Yeah,
good hold. I mean, sure, it's less than
yeah,
half issue, but issue 1 is nearly 300,000. Like it was never going to
yeah.
maintain that.
No,
So you know that's
but
not terrible
it's
for
a
interesting.
nice quality. I feel like I do this with Hulk every couple years. There'll be a new run that starts, and it starts off out of the gate really really good, and then it just kind of peters off. I hope this doesn't do it
Hmm. No,
because
I really like this issue 1 of Immortal Hulk. I tried to keep up in Marvel singles and I just fell behind again. I always fall behind. I'll just
yeah.
read them in trade because I know that's how I'm going to read them
Yeah,
anyway.
you'll love this because there's a horror TV serialization, but they're also
Mm.
an anthology. So like there's an overarching story in between, but each story is its own self-contained thing. So like you could pick up issue 3 and read it, and you
Mm.
don't have to know what's going on in issue 2, but it's gonna make much more sense, you know. But it's right up your alley. You love Buffy and all that type of stuff, and there's very much a
The hit
light
television
for
show Buffy the Vampire. In fact,
yeah,
I got distracted because I was going to make a Buffy reference when you mentioned She's All That because
yeah,
they shot that at the same high school. The I think it was the exterior
they did.
was the same high school as Sunnydale High, and Sarah
Yeah.
Michelle Gellar has a random cameo in the cafeteria for no goddamn reason. She's just there at one point, and
You know why that is though, right?
well, there's two reasons. One, she was obviously there anyway, shooting Buffy,
Yeah.
and two, Freddie Prinze Jr.'s there.
Yes.
Who she
Yeah,
was
yeah.
probably dating
That's
at
what
the
we'll make
time.
sure that was all above the board. You know,
Yes,
they're still together too.
they
That's
are.
amazing.
I
In
mean,
Hollywood.
do you know what I think it is? I think it's because neither one of them since Buffy has been that successful, especially him. He's kind of
Yeah.
like slid back into sort of more behind the scenes roles, and I feel like that lack of spotlight actually has helped them. I don't know. I'm just guessing.
Yeah.
That's maybe
Well, no,
baseless, but
he wrote for WWE for a hot second.
mm.
So he was doing that just for fun. I remember he produced and directed an X-Men kind of spinoff called Mutant X that during the early 2000s. Not a good show,
Yeah.
but
And,
he
it's
tried.
not to say that Gallows had a terrible career, but she's definitely not had any sort of big thing
Not
that have been.
not the heights of Buffy.
No.
You know, she had that show with Robin Williams a couple years ago that I tried to watch just out of respect for both of them, and I
Yeah.
couldn't get into it.
And
It was weird.
that might have still been going had he not passed away. That was
Yeah.
what ended that show, unfortunately.
Yeah.
But
So,
hey, so number 8, it's still in this top 10, Matt. Number 8.
Action Comics 1001.
I'm sorry, but Batman 51 is taking the number.
This is upsetting me because Action Comics was one of my favorite books of the last month.
That was 111,000. Batman keeps its 100+ streak, 100,000+ streak, getting at issue 51. So
Fair enough.
that's good.
I used to be resentful over that stuff, but kind of like Tom King. You know, he's earned my respect enough. So
Yeah, Tom King's a cool dude.
yeah, I'm not gonna begrudge him. He just my favorite thing on Twitter is him ruining those Elmer Fudd covers. Just constant ruining. Like,
Hell,
finding
he
ways-
ruined the interiors of the last Mr. Miracle, so why not? You know.
Well, yeah, true. I almost asked what it was, and then I remembered the kid pages. So
Yeah. And then number 9, we're finally dropping below 100,000. Not by much. I mean, we have another number 1, Matt.
that's not DC.
No, we're at a number 1 from DC. I'm pretty sure.
Yes. What else came out number 1 from Marvel? Is it Marvel?
Yes, and you did read this. I know you did read this.
Yeah. Is it Sentry?
This Sentry's not making the top 10 in his wildest dreams,
well
Matt.
it
Come on.
Lemire, you're one of my dudes, but that was not good.
I don't care if Lemire, Grant Morrison, Mark Waid, and Rucky are co-writing it. They stopped breaking the top 10.
Well, you said I read it, therefore I thought it's a Marvel number 1.
Your memory's shocking at times, Matt.
It is. I'm telling you, when you read as many comics as I do, they all blur together at a certain point. Oh, it's Honey Badger.
Yes, X-23.
Yeah.
There you go, number
I did
1.
read that.
93,000 that got for us issue 1, so not bad.
That is Tamaki, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'm a big fan of this era of the X-Men that had like the new generation of school, like Decimation had just happened. So you had a lot of the cuckoos and a lot of the younger, but they weren't like the time displaced. And this is through 2 issues. This is what this is feeling like. Is that era of we're going to try to build this new era without relying too much on the old. So you're gonna get, the sister and their Honey Badger in X-23.
Yeah,
So.
this came out after I decided to just trade weight for all my Marvel stuff, but I'm looking forward to reading it because I like Tamaki a lot, and I loved All New Wolverine. So
2 issues in, it's good. I need to track down All New Wolverine because, I know how much you love that book.
The next time Marvel do one of those silly sales on Comixology, just you get the whole thing for about $10 probably.
Yeah, just link me. Let me know. I don't pay attention to that stuff.
And then number 10, believe it or not, Marvel had yet another number 1 in July.
So you're telling me Action Comics 1001 didn't crack the top 10?
I'm sorry, Matt.
You people make me sick. Buy Action Comics. That book was fantastic.
It's weird how Batman and Superman always do better than Detective in Action, and it's stupid to me because it is literally just the name is the character, therefore it sells better, and it's always struck me as odd. Like it's just
Well, I mean, it's not that Superman 1 wasn't good, but Action Comics 1001 was just a superior story.
I'm not even talking about like this specific run. I can't think of outside of Action 1000, which is obviously was a bigger deal because it was 1000. Like I feel like Batman always outsells Detective, Superman always outsells Action, and it doesn't matter which one's better at the time. It's just a simple case of there's enough people who just see the word Batman, they'll buy Batman because it says Batman, and they won't even think about, or they'll see Detective as a weird second thing, or they won't maybe not even realize that it's a Batman comic. I don't know, but it's
Even though
called
he's on
Batman.
every single cover, like
Yeah.
usually Batman's on that cover of Tech. So
I don't know. I mean, right now, I mean, King's doing a fantastic job, so
yeah,
it's not a big deal. But there's certainly times when I'm like, Detective's the better book right now. Detective should be outselling Batman, but it doesn't happen. Not really.
yeah.
Anyway, so what do you think number 10 is then, Matt? Number 1 for Marvel. What's
I'm
left?
out of I'm out of number ones to think of.
Matt, the answer is Cosmic Ghost Rider number 1.
Oh yeah, I have that. I bought that after Mario browbeat me uh, when he was here for that con. So
Oh God,
that was
yeah, I'm good. I'm good on the Cosmic Ghost Rider.
yeah.
But that was 92,000. That's sold just under X23. So I mean, obviously that's well. Obviously these number ones from Marvel will all drop down. Spider-Man we already see. Although Spider-Man drops to a pretty good amount,
Yeah.
but I feel like X23 and Cosmic Ghost Rider are probably going to go down to like 50,000 for issue 2s, maybe.
Mm,
In
that makes
fact,
sense.
X23 should be on here actually, the second issue, because it's same month. Oh no! Oh, that dropped hard.
Yeah.
That dropped to 36,000. Oofed. That's rough.
That's not good. That's not good.
It's a shame.
Not for a girl Tamaki.
It's a shame. So just to sort of go ahead and I won't make you guess anymore because
Thank you.
I'll just torture you with the top 10. After that, I'll just tell you some interesting ones. So Justice League number 3 was number 11. With 80,000, so Justice League still selling well. Number 4 was number 6. No, sorry, number 13 with 77,000. So you know, pretty similar, close. So you'll notice those were just one number apart from each other. The one slotted in between was Action Comics 1001 with 79,000. So it wasn't too low, Matt. You don't have to feel too bad.
No, that's good. I really enjoyed that book. That's why should have been higher. Should have been top 10 people.
Teen Titans number 20 was number 16 with 67,000. That's notably high for that book.
Yeah, that's too high.
I mean that was sort of the relaunch issue though, so I'm expecting that to drop with the next month. Looking for more DC stuff. Man of Steel number 6 actually is on here at 61,000 and number 21.
That's good.
So, well, it's funny because Man of Steel was kind of underselling to a point, but it didn't have any variants, and it seems unfortunately that variants do actually inflate the numbers a lot. For most books, even just having one variant adds like a significant percentage to the numbers.
Because most of them are one and whatever, so you have to order however many to get that one variant.
So
right?
here's yeah. Well, some of them are. They don't do it as much as they used to. Don't do as much as they used to, but
No, I mean I know DC does a combination because there's an A and B cover, but then there's also one and whatever variants.
only for a couple of books though. I think Justice League has that. I think like Heroes in Crisis might have that, but most of the books only have an A and B cover, and that's
right.
it. So here's one that's actually kind of I don't know. Is this disappointing, Matt? Justice League Dark is at number 22 with 60,000. Is that disappointing?
I don't think so because that's kind of a niche book. Like I think that'll be a sleeper. People will come on. I think that's what Tynion's game is people don't pay attention, and then once it starts hitting, it's kind of like Tech. I felt like the longer he wrote on Tech, the more it sold. So.
So yeah, 60. We'll see how much that holds. I mean, that might have a better hold than most first issues to issue 2, based on it not launching super high, and most people seem to be really happy with it from the response I was seeing online. Flash issues 50 and 51 were at 23 and 26 respectively, with 58 and 53,000. So 50 got a slight bump being issue 50. But Flash is a really consistent seller. It's consistently around that kind of range and does really well for most shops.
Yeah, it's Flash in a nutshell. It's just consistent.
Yeah. And then Detective was the next kind of reliable DC seller. That's at number 28 and 29, respectively, between issues 984 and 985, with 51,000 on both issues. There's only, let me just count the difference here, 119 119 separates the two of them in terms of copies.
Wow.
So, you know, that's really close. That is really consistent between them. And then from there, you know, at that point we're getting into the 30s. So you get a Wonder Woman issue, get a bunch of, because Marvel released so much stuff that they're just kind of starting to like flood out here. I'm just looking for more DC stuff to see if there's anything interesting. But no, not particularly. That's it. It's worth mentioning that after the Wonder Woman issues, you're kind of getting down to the high 20,000s before we get to our next DC book. So we'll see how that shapes up. But hey, so there you go. There's your charts for the month of July. As much as it bores the crap out of Matt, I always enjoy talking about them. So
I know you love numbers like you love aspect ratio.
not as much. I like aspect ratios more.
True.
The art of the aspect ratio is a very important part of, well, life and everything. So okay, with that said, because I've stumbled Matt there because he doesn't know what to do.
No, because if I bring up something else, you're going to go off on that. So I'm just learning to. This is what you do. Yeah, just be quiet. Let Pete finish. Yeah.
Smart.
Plus, Connor's not here to egg me on, so.
This is true. That horrible ginger is not here to disrupt things. So, and not to worry if you're thinking where's Connor's Corners 2 books. Don't worry, he's getting to them in week 5. Those are coming at the end of the month. As is my Peter's Pick or Lack thereof. That's coming in week 5 as well. I was almost going to do Hawk and Dove this week. Like, I was close to doing it, but then it's like I have the option of reading Hawk and Dove with art by Layfield, or I have the option of not doing it. Which one am I picking?
It's always better than not.
Exactly. If I can push it off, I'll push it off. So yeah. So we'll do some. Actually, no. One bit of news before we get to questions. One bit of news. So it's just we knew about this coming anyway. We knew that we were going to get the Drowned Earth was going to be the next arc in Justice League. It turns out it's actually going to be more of a crossover that's treated very similar to the October crossover with the Wonder Woman Justice League Dark Witching Hour. It's going to be very similar to that. So here's the issues involved. There's a prelude story in Aquaman in October, but here's the actual. In fact, the first issue's in October as well. October's got a 5th week, and so we're getting a sort of retroactive solicit for the last week of October for the first thing of this. So we're getting a one shot to start it off. Justice League Aquaman Drowned Earth issue 1. This will interestingly be written by Tynion the 4th. So that's interesting because I just assumed Snyder would do the whole thing, but
yeah, I mean it makes sense. They trust each other. They work together well.
Oh yeah, I mean it's not that weird, but it's
plus,
surprising.
More on this when we're talking about Justice League. I almost feel like Tynion's a better group writer than Snyder. Snyder's great when he's singularly focused.
Oh, interesting.
So, yeah.
Interesting. So I'll read the solicit text for this first one. I won't do it for all 5 books because, well, I don't really want to read what the second part's like. But so that's October 31st. That's the last week in October. So it's out on Halloween, of all things. This is a 48-page one-shot that introduced the Ocean Lords, an ancient and powerful deities with an axe to grind against both Aquaman and Wonder Woman, and plan to flood the world. As the rest of the League races to stop the waters from rising, Arthur faces off against his nemesis Black Manta in a must-win battle if he is to retain his connection to the world's oceans. So that's Justice League Aquaman Drowned Earth issue 1. That is a supersized one shot. I assume it'll be $5 just based on the page count. And then November 7th, first week in November, you get Justice League number 11 with part 2. That is written by Snyder. That has art by Manipul. The first one had art by Howard Porter. And then part 3 comes in Justice League 12 2 weeks later, on November 21st, with Tynion writing that issue, with art by Fraser Irving. And then November 21st, which is the same day as that. So this is weird. It skips a week and then it's got 2 out on the same day, based on when these books are out. Is Aquaman 42, which will be Dan Abnett writing with Len Medina on art. And then the final part, which is on the 4th week in November, is doing that same annoying thing where it just swaps the titles at the start. This is another one shot. It's Aquaman Justice League Drowned Earth issue 1. It's another 48-page one shot, so expect that to probably be $5 as well. It doesn't actually tell me who the writer and artist is for that one, bizarrely.
Starting to feel unwieldy. They're doing this a lot now, and it. Remember when Williamson wrote all of the Justice League Suicide Squad? So, and that when unwieldy is not necessarily a bad thing, but it feels just like they're there's a lot of big stories back to back.
Given how much given that Tynion did the first one, I'd expect Tynion for the last one. I could see it being Tynion and Snyder, or Snyder a push. I feel like the Aquaman issue is just like a tie-in, though.
Yeah.
As opposed to an actual chapter. That's just my guess, though. Just my guess, but Yeah.
It makes sense. A lot's happening in Atlantis.
Yeah.
So
So I remember Snyder talking about this though, actually, that when he pitched this Aquaman focused Justice League story, the DC basically made the choice that they wanted to expand it and make it a bigger thing. So this is what we're getting out of it. So this was them saying, "Hey, let's expand this and make it something bigger." So it makes me wonder, because there's only one issue of Justice League in there that's written by Snyder in this entire crossover.
Right.
I wonder, I wonder if that's the story he wanted to tell, and then they expanded it and they brought in Tinian to like do all this extra stuff. What's funny to me though is that he's kind of the main writer on this crossover when he's the one writing the entirety of the Witching Hour in October. So
right.
so we're getting
So
two.
that's what I mean.
Yeah, two
Like,
Tinian crossovers back to back.
good for him. I'm happy for that guy.
Yeah, he's working hard.
Yeah.
I'm interested in the crossover. I mean, I hate this naming thing where they just swap the properties at the
Well,
end.
you know why they do that, right?
Because another issue one.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah. But
Just call it Drowned Earth Finale issue 1 or something. I don't know.
yeah,
Just
or Drowned Earth 2. I remember they would do that, like Robin War. Robin War started with Robin War Special 1, and then it had the, crossovers, and then it ended with Robin War 2.
I mean,
So
I get why they want it to be issue 1. That's why I'm saying just put the word finale in it. So it's just, another issue 1 special, even though it's the ending. Which is still kind of bullshit. It's kind of cheating a little bit. But you know what? I'd prefer that, just to make it clear that this is another one shot.
yeah,
But hey, so yeah, that's Justice League and Aquaman Drowned Earth coming. Is the Aquaman, and I mean we know the next arc is Aquaman and Wonder Woman focused. I wonder if this is all the Aquaman focus section, and then Wonder Woman's sort of more focus will still happen in Justice League in the following issues or the preceding issues, depending.
yeah, makes sense.
I could see that happening. Or does that mean we're going to get a Wonder Woman crossover again in December for her part of this focus? I don't know.
Man.
Who's to say? So yeah. So prepare to buy a couple of extra one shots in November. They're milking it a little bit. I think that's fair to critique. They're milking it a little bit. But we are getting through more stories more often. So it's just give and take, I guess. It depends on how many books you're buying, I suppose. If you've got a big DC pull list, I guess you could be quite annoyed at this. It's like, well, another 2 one shots. They're probably gonna be like $5 each. What are we doing here? But hey. So. That is pretty much it for the news. So we'll do some comments. We'll do some questions rather, before moving on. So I'm going to hit you with a question. Here, this is from Buana Beast from YouTube.
Ah, nice name.
And this is an interesting one. If you could choose to kill off a top tier character from DC forever, and it has to be someone that you like, who would it be and why?
So you can't say Batman? Can't say Bruce Wayne?
To say that, you'd have to admit that you really like Batman.
I know, so that's why I can't say it.
I think what they're looking for here, I think we're looking for where you think the death would be impactful and have a good dramatic outcome, and it would be worth doing. And I guess the example here to sort of compare it to would be that, well, Barry Allen's death was actually a really good thing at the time. Not because we didn't like Barry Allen, but because it led to Wally being the Flash, and it had this big lasting impact, and then they reversed it decades
Barry
later.
got to be that awesome hero that got talked about.
Yeah.
He died saving the multiverse, or the universe, whatever it was at the time.
But, I mean, Barry's kind of a boring choice because it's kind of already happened. We're just kind of picking from history at that point. So I'm going to say Hal Jordan.
Yeah, but he's already died too. He sacrificed himself.
Kind of.
Yeah, he sacrificed himself in 0 Hour to reignite the sun.
Well, but it became Spectre and all that, so it doesn't even feel like. Whereas Barry was like legitimately gone for a long ass time. Hal was like.
Except in time travel stories with Wade and Johns,
Oh sure, but time travel's time travel.
Yeah. Yeah, I know.
Whereas Hal, it was kind of like, 10 minutes, he's back.
Yeah.
He was.
It really was.
So I feel like Hal would be good because they always talk about him being the greatest Green Lantern, and I feel like at this point that would have more effect if he was gone. Like, if okay, he did all these things, but now he's gone, and it's not like we're short for Green Lanterns with him gone.
No.
Jessica and Kyle are right there to take up the mantle of lead Green Lantern.
Yep. Yeah. So Dick Grayson doesn't count, right? Because he technically died in God, the villain's event.
I wouldn't count that as dying, but that was Forever Evil.
Yeah, Forever Evil. Thank you. Yep, my brain wanted to say Final Crisis,
Nah, nah.
but
He
it
just, I
was
mean, because
Forever
they just
Evil.
faked his death. He didn't actually die.
Yeah, no, I know it's at this point. I think his death would have the most reverberations because he is the heart and soul of the DCU, and it would
Yeah.
impact every single book.
It would impact everyone, but I feel there's a lot more to do with him. Whereas I think with characters like Hal, it's like, I mean, like, I'm not saying you can't have more interesting stories with Hal. I think there's definitely stuff to tell, but I feel like I wouldn't feel like I'm missing a lot more story with him if we took him off the table.
Well, no, but I think that's what makes the impact there. It makes the death seem important, you know. With Dick, that's I think why Didio wanted to kill him at the end of Infinite Crisis.
No, I don't know if I agree with that because I feel like you shouldn't kill a. I feel like because you feel there's a story left untold, there's not a reason to kill a character because there's like, oh, that's more impact. Because that's frustrating because there was more story to tell.
Well, yeah, but I'm just saying if there's a way to do it where you kill Dick and you make it like a Barry Allen death, you know, like, and he's worthy of that. I feel, and he's a character I really love. You're not because look, you're not gonna kill Superman. I'm not killing Wally. I just got Wally back. There's no way I'm gonna actively.
No, yeah, I wouldn't. Still.
So next down on my list of big characters is Dick Grayson because I can't say Booster. Booster's not a huge character.
No.
So so I'm going in my order of favorite heroes. You know, it's got to be Dick. You gotta kill that Dick.
No, you don't. Don't kill Dick. No, I'm picking Hal. I feel like there's other Green Lanterns that are more interesting now, and I like Hal well enough. Don't get me wrong. I'm not dissing Hal, but I feel like given the way he's always talked about this greatest Green Lantern, I'm like, okay, this would actually make more sense if he was dead. He'd sacrificed himself already. But anyway, so moving on. Sweet Exorcist 7 asked us, are there any comics from the New 52 that you guys actually liked? I almost get a hint of salt.
Funny.
A hint of salt there that we always insult the New 52. Yes. I think the first thing that springs to mind for me is probably Lemire's Animal Man and the Snyder Swamp Thing, and those two as a pair at the start were pretty solid.
Even Soul Swamp Thing, I'm a big fan of that one. Yeah. Lemire's Green Arrow.
I'm not as big on those
comics.
two specifically, but Soul Swamp Thing especially, I just gave up after a couple issues. But
so good. I really do like Morrison's Action Comics when you realize it's not supposed to be an actual origin, like it's his version of Golden Age Superman. So it's almost more of an origin to All Star or a prequel to All Star Superman than this actual new origin for the New 52 version of Superman. So I really like that. I think that was the first 18 issues of Action Comics.
Something like that. It was 16, 18. Something like
I enjoyed that. I mean, Snyder's Batman for the most part. I more or less enjoyed.
I liked the first few arcs of Snyder's Batman. I feel like it really went downhill during 0 Year and kind of floundered after that for me. But yeah,
I think Azrael as Wonder Woman. I really enjoyed that. And then the Finches took over and I stopped.
Well, naturally.
Yeah. And then Justice League under Johns during the New 52.
Justice League for the most part was pretty solid. And he's Aquaman as well. I mean, I like Parker's Aquaman. I like Greg Pak's Action Comics for the most part as well.
Yeah.
That was the bright spot of Superman until the ending.
It was. And then Johns came in and tried to fix things. And
honestly, it didn't really succeed, to be honest.
No, it didn't. So, but no, I mean, we beat up on the New 52 because there was a lot more bad in the New 52 than there was good.
Yeah.
I mean, the only time I've never not read Flash and Superman since I've gotten back into comics in like 03, 04 was in the New 52. So, I mean, and I have Flash comics going back into the 90s because if I saw them at a grocery store, I would pick them up when I was a kid. So, the fact that it got so bad then, it was a sad time. But Grayson, I'm thinking of another one. I was a big fan of that one. That was where King and Seeley. That's where I found out about those two guys.
I'll give a shout out to Gotham After Midnight. No, Gotham by Midnight. No, Gotham After Midnight.
Yeah, that
Whatever
was
the title was, I forget the exact title now, but
yeah,
that was
that
like
was a horror themed one.
yeah,
right?
supernatural horror. It was like hunting down like it was. Yeah, it was basically like supernatural, like a team of paranormal investigators inside Gotham, and it was yeah, your usual suspects.
Yeah.
But that was good.
The other one me and Connor talk about a lot, Demon Knights. That was Paul Cornell fantasy. It was kind of Justice League Dark right now with Tinian. Before that, had the same kind of vibe, just no Detective Chimp and Wonder Woman. So yeah, no, there's plenty in the New 52 that are pretty good, but for every pretty good, you get a, He Who Must Not Be Named Superman and Venditti's Flash, and yeah,
Yeah.
rough times.
I mean, Speed actually just asked quite a bit. I'll ask another couple
Yeah.
of them. Quick one here. Would you guys ever consider doing a live podcast? It's been considered before. It's been thought about. There's a couple of reasons why we don't. One is that we get to take breaks that we do it right now, which is really useful. Also, the start time kind of varies a little bit, which is not really good for a live show because you have to start on schedule every week.
Yep.
And yeah, there's a flexibility that you don't get when you're doing something live.
Yeah.
And it would be less polished overall. There'd be more fumbling around, I think,
Yeah.
between takes, which is why I wouldn't have done it. I'm not going to say never. I'll never say never, but
No, because we could do a stream of some kind during something. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like
I feel like not a live regular episode, but maybe like we could do the occasional live like Q&A type thing. Or something like that. But, I mean, that could be a
Definitely.
possibility.
Yeah.
But that could be more
Just some other
casual
questions.
rather than the actual
Yeah,
rather than the actual show.
it's easier to fumble around when you're being loose
Yeah.
than when we're trying to fit in books and sales figures like Pete loves. So
Hell yeah. Because that's the other thing. I feel like if I was doing a live stream of an episode, I'd want to interact with those talking to us. And we can't do that in a regular episode. It would inflate the length of the episode by like at least 100-200% because we'd be stopping to talk to people in chat every 2 minutes. So I wouldn't say a regular episode, but there's a possibility of some kind of live special or something that's separate content. And then another quick one, I think, also from Sweet Exorcist 7. What is your favorite MCU film?
Oh, I just went over this after watching Infinity War with my wife. So
Heated debate, I'm sure.
Oh no, it's still and always will be Avengers. Like that's.
Oh yeah, I've got the same pick. Avengers 1.
It's Avengers and then Winter Soldier 1 and 2. Like those two are never being touched. Anything else past that, there's always some up and downs with how I'm feeling. I really loved last year's movies. Between
I mean, I can probably rattle you off a top 5 just off the top of my head.
Yeah.
Number 1's Avengers. Number 2 is Guardians of the Galaxy. Number 3 is Winter Soldier. Number 4 is probably Spider-Man: Homecoming. And then Infinity War probably.
Yeah, that's pretty solid.
Yeah, Infinity War may be up a little, 1 or 2 spots actually. I kind of keep forgetting to include that one because it's the newest one. Well, it's not the newest anymore.
Yeah.
But
no, anymore.
But something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Mine definitely is Avengers: Winter Soldier, and then depending on my mood, either Ragnarok or Homecoming because I both really enjoyed those. And then five's always a tough one because that's another that slides. So it could be Guardians, it could be Ant-Man. Like it's probably one of the lighter toned ones.
I will say some Phase 1 movies don't hold up, and I will definitely say that I've always thought the first Captain America was trash.
I know.
Don't at me.
Yeah, don't add him, please. I'm tired of this conversation.
Bad green screen, boring story, shitty villain, Red Skull's terrible.
And I love it for all those reasons.
Oh, I hate it so much. That first Captain America is painfully boring to me. I just don't. And Winter Soldier's so good. The turnaround between those movies is insane. The turnaround, damn it. Anyway, so moving on. Where are we? So, at Talking Superman, a regular chatter to us on Twitter. Chatter, that's a terrible word. Hey, I'm running on low sleep here, folk. Stupid things will be said. So, what's a comic story you'd want a sequel for?
I mean, does Johns' Wally story count? Because I want more John's Wally at
The,
this point.
the fight. What do you mean? His run? His run on
Yeah, his
Flash?
whole
Okay.
run. Yeah. That whole run. I mean,
Alright.
I Williamson's kind of doing it, but you know, it's one
It's
of my
funny.
favorite.
I'm going to say one that we're kind of getting oddly. Um, at least implied by Snyder that this is something that's happening. But I like a sequel to Batman Black Mirror would be
Yeah.
lovely. Um, and when I say a sequel to that, like obviously I'd like Dick Bat, but I think what I really mean is like a really good follow up to James Gordon Jr.
Mm-hmm.
As a villain. He's a really great
And how
villain.
he fits in with that because he was really meant to be Dick's villain,
Mm.
you know. So, and where does that fit in with the legacy of Batman when Bruce comes back? You know, that would be super interesting.
Yeah, there's definite potential there. And then on top of that, I think I'd love to get a Supergirl being super sequel. Actually,
Yeah.
I'd like a
Yeah,
follow
I
up
think it's
story in that
easier to
world.
do with these not so many Elseworlds but standalones.
Yeah.
Uh, you know, I'm trying to think of some off the top of my head. I just can't. But yeah, Supergirl being super would be a lot of fun. Um, checking over at my shelf right now. There's not too many. I wonder if you could do something in the. You know how they had Frank Miller come back for Dark Knight Strikes Again?
Yeah.
You know, I'm wondering something like an older story like that. You know, like Death of Superman, where Superman never returned. I guess that's in Elseworlds.
Yeah, that's
But
more like
like,
a sort of spin off Elseworld, yeah, than anything else.
yeah, but but you know, like, let's say Clark never came back and Doomsday really did kill him. What does that mean for Metropolis? Like, who steps up?
Mm.
Is it Steel? Is it the Metropolis kid? Like, I think that'd be a lot of fun. But then again, that's an Elseworlds. It's comics is really kind of hard to have sequel stories like that. You know, like you can do the Long Halloween and then Dark Victory, but really they're not so much sequels as they are just another story by the same creative team.
I mean, I think that one's a sequel because it's kind of its own little. I mean, it's not like I wouldn't say it's out of continuity per se. That one's obviously
Yeah,
close enough that it feels like it's in continuity,
right.
but it's more of a thematic thing. Like it feels like another sequel in
Yeah,
the same because it had that murder mystery element. The sequel, Dark Victory also has the murder mystery. Like it feels like if this was a movie, this is the sequel to it. It has that
yeah. Well, that
feeling.
makes sense. And I say this as I haven't read Dark Victory yet, and I've had it for years and it's sitting on my shelf. I just anytime I pick up a comic that's that huge, it's very daunting.
It's 13
So
issues, Matt. Come on.
yeah, but I don't like to put my trades in my backpack to read them at work, and that's where I can do some reading on my breaks, uninterrupted. So here, my wife likes to be like, "Oh, hey, what you reading? Oh, what's going on there?" So you know, think something like All Star Superman, how that ended,
Mm.
and how the world's different after that post Superman. I think would be cool.
I feel like All
But
Star Superman is the one that a lot of people would say.
yeah, that's why I was trying not to say it, but it makes the most sense. Morrison's pretty good at that thing where he can tell a complete story and then maybe come back to it, maybe not. Like I feel his Batman runs a lot like that, where he seeded out these characters that he could come back to, or someone else who like Professor Pig.
Hell,
It's really cool when he pops up.
speaking of Morrison, I feel like I love Arkham Asylum, A Serious House, and A Serious Earth. Like
Ah,
I would not say no to a sequel to that in
yeah,
some capacity. Which actually no, they announced a sequel to that, didn't they?
they might have.
They
It's
did.
hard.
They did. That was ages ago. Do you know what? I'd forgotten about that. And I'm sitting here going, I'd love a sequel to that. They actually announced one. They just kind of left it very vague as to when we'd ever actually see the bloody thing. That was over a year ago now, surely, when they
Yeah,
announced
it's
that.
gotta be because I remember they also announced he's doing Wonder Woman Earth One,
Volume
Volume
two.
Two.
Yeah.
So,
No,
um,
they definitely announced that. Shit. Okay, well, I'm getting one then. I mean, we'll see how it actually
yeah,
pans out, but
it's funny to look at these things where you have like, so you had Infinite Crisis was a sequel to Crisis on Infinite Earths, and now you have Heroes in Crisis, which it's not exactly a sequel to Identity Crisis, but you talk about that thematic
Yeah.
tie. It feels more personal, like
I
Identity
feel like
Crisis was.
when it comes to stuff like that, that's just completely in continuity. It's more
Yep.
like your season 4 finale of your TV show is thematically referencing the season 2 finale.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. So I'm trying to think of that because I mean, John's was out there saying that Infinite Crisis was a sequel, and when you see what happens and the characters involved, it definitely fits. And now I feel like Doomsday Clock is the Infinite Crisis to Watchmen, to where it didn't start off like, oh yeah, this is a sequel to Watchmen, but it's totally
Hmm.
a sequel to Watchmen. So but yeah, comics is kind of hard to think about sequels on. Like, it's almost like saying like I want a Cheers sequel, and it's like, well, you have Frasier, but it's not exactly the same.
Hell, you may be getting
No.
Frasier 2 soon.
Yeah.
Frasier the sequel.
Yeah.
So no. Hey, next up, from at @r_DC Comics. So that's the Reddit DC Comics account.
Ooh.
Two either or questions. The first one will definitely be quick. Barry or Wally?
Oh, Wally.
Yeah, I mean I love Barry, but Wally, yeah.
Yeah. Barry's
Um,
great, but Wally's my Flash. Like, plain and simple.
what
I
might
love that
get
too.
a bit more debate out of us though is Dick Babs or Dick Fire. Well, Dick Fire sounds like a medical condition you should get checked out immediately. Quite
It
frankly,
does.
but you get what I'm saying. So Dick Babs or
Yeah.
Dick Fire?
I'm at Dick Babs. Easy.
All right, okay. If Connor was here, there'd be a debate because
Yeah.
he'd be all Dick Fire.
Because I feel like the Starfire Dick Grayson relationship is just very Marv Wolfman. So like that's his take. Whereas Barbara and Dick crosses multiple creators, and
Also,
we'll talk about.
not to bring the tone of the show down, but Dick Fire could also refer to an individual with ginger pubes.
Yeah, that's true.
Since we brought Connor into the conversation.
Oh God, thanks. But yeah, and like I like both of those characters a whole lot.
Oh, yeah.
Like Babs and Starfire. Like over the last 2 years, Starfire has become one of my favorite characters. But Babs is still my favorite Batgirl. So, and it's her and Dick Grayson. Like that's what was so weird about the New Order. It was very much informed by the Wolfman run, and you could tell that's what Higgins, he loves that. So, but yeah, easy.
Yeah. At Senpaku4444, so sort of fours.
Yeah.
Very simple. Favorite comics / runs. So I mean that's obviously a very vague sort of general, all-encompassing question.
Yeah.
So I shall narrow it down a little bit. So what's your favorite DC run not by Jeff Johns?
Oh man, he has wiped out a whole lot of things.
I know.
As weird as this sounds, because I can't, because John's wrote on that Superman run, so I can't use that one. It's probably Morrison's Batman. I really enjoy Morrison's Batman run. And more specifically, the Resurrection of Ra's al Ghul. That arc. It's probably my favorite Batman arc of all time. So,
that's fair.
Although Rucka's Wonder Woman's really good too.
Yeah, Rucka's Wonder Woman, if I'm taking away John's runs, that may be mine. I mean, there's a lot of classic runs that I'm still kind of working through, and I'm early enough in that I don't want to like pick any of those. But I'm from what I've read so far, Grell's Green Arrow's seeming pretty great. From what I've read so far, Mark Wolfman and Perez Teen Titans is really great. I'm X amount into a lot of these things. But Peter David's Supergirl even, I'm a good chunk of that.
Yeah, I want to start that. I just started the John's Hawkman Volume 2 because I'm really into Hawkman. Yeah, but right before that, I was gonna read Peter David's Supergirl because I saw Gary Frank did some of the interiors in that run, and I was like, oh, I never knew this till now, so need to. The Sterling Gate Supergirl run, I'm a really big fan of that too. That just reminded me, we were talking about the Peter David one. That was, post her coming with Jeff Loeb and Michael Turner's run.
Oh, um, Kelly Puckett's Batgirl, Cassie Kane.
Yeah.
That's really good. That's really good stuff.
So yeah.
If I'm picking something. All right. So from at Tim3Robin, favorite legacy character in the DCU. Legacy, but hold on. I am going to remove the option of either Dick Grayson or Wally West to make this more
that's what I was
interesting.
gonna say. You have to, because those are, you know, Babs counts as a legacy, right?
I'm going to say.
She's not really a legacy to anybody, though.
I mean, she's kind of, but I'm going to say no. I'm going to say that Cass and Steph are
Okay.
legacy characters to her, rather than
Yeah.
she's a
Okay.
legacy character.
That's what I was gonna
to
say.
Batman,
Yeah.
yeah.
What is I'm thinking? Because those are always the two go-to. I'm running through Justice Society characters. I do like Stargirl from
I like Stargirl a lot.
JSA. She's real cool.
Sans pretty cool in JSA as well.
Yeah.
There's a lot of options in there. I mean,
Atom Smasher, I like.
oh yeah, yeah. I mean, like. I mean, honestly, it's probably going to be Stephanie Brown if I'm not picking Dick or Wally. I mean, that's kind of where it comes down to. But there's a lot. I mean, this is the thing about DC. This is actually a really hard question for DC because what DC do really well is legacy characters. I mean, even Superman now has John as a legacy character. Arguably, Supergirl as well counts in that
Yeah.
category. So, but like almost all of them have good. I mean, Green Lantern's a weird one because it's not legacy in the same way that other characters have legacy characters because it's kind of built in that they get more of them as time goes on.
I was just gonna say, like, Kyle was a legacy character, and they brought Hal back, so it's like.
Oh, he's still a legacy character. I mean, all the Robins are still legacy characters.
But because they work together so often, I don't think of him. I think of them more as partners than I do as a legacy. Versus where I always feel Wally looks up to Barry, no matter what.
Yeah.
No matter what the age difference is.
I mean,
and I feel like Dick has some regard for Bruce if they're not in a fight.
Yeah, there's some father figure stuff going on there for sure.
Yeah.
Does Jessica count as a legacy character? There's Jessica Cruz. I don't know. It feels kind of weird.
Here's one that's gonna. I should have mentioned earlier. If I can't say Wally, right? I go next down the line to Bart. Like, Bart's fantastic because throughout Wade's Impulse and then John's Teen Titans, he becomes a completely different character, and he even assumes the mantle of Flash after Wally leaves to raise the twins. So, Bart's another good one. There's a lot, like the Legion of Superheroes, their entire legacy, like that's all they do in the 30th century. So.
I mean, that's the thing with DC is like they're so good at legacy characters. There's so many of them, and if they let say a couple of characters stay dead, it'd be even better to praise. But obviously, I think Dick and Wally are the clear number ones or number 1 and 2.
They're the ones that made good. Yeah, they're the sidekicks that made good. Versus you have you look at the other people from the early Teen Titans with Wonder Girl and Tempest, and no one's ever been really able to solve them. Like Donna Troy's origins changed 1,500 times, and sometimes they forget Tempest was even a character. So
Donna's definitely well more liked than Tempest is. I think that's
easy. I mean, that's why she has so many origins because they use her more than Garth. So, but I'm just looking at the early.
Shout out to Miss Martian for picking.
Yeah, Martian.
More sort of left of field legacy choices.
So I'm going to use this one. So now you have legacy characters of the next generation to where that's sort of the Damien, the Emmy, that era. Do you think any of those characters are going to stand the same test that Dick and Wally did?
Well, I think Damien and Emmy. Damien especially. I think Damien is so solidified at this point, and he feels so well integrated to me into the overall DCU, and he's so unique. I think Emmy's really fun. Emmy's the type of character that I can see being left behind because she's seen maybe either as too similar to Damien in some ways, or other writers just don't use her after a certain point. Wallace, I think, right now, they need to give Wallace his own thing. Right now, he's kind of just angsty, and he's hard to get into. And then, obviously, I've not been reading the New Teen Titans to see these new characters that they've introduced, but...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because he could easily go the way of Connor Hawk. Not that I want that. And I like Connor Hawk's character, I do enjoy.
And obviously, John will stick around, I think.
I hope.
So I think John and Damien, and then Emmy's got a reasonable chance, but I can see her being left behind at some point, unfortunately.
I mean, we have a whole Young Justice squad sitting there in the wings, you know?
Well, yeah, but they've got Adam Glass writing it, so that's the problem.
Yeah, I know. Just give him Super Sons. Just give it to Tomasi. He did Super Pets one shot that was fantastic. Let's see what he would do with a Teen Titans, you know? Or a Young Justice, rather.
Yeah. So Legacy's a hard one with DC. You're kind of spoiled for choice, especially once you start getting into like JSA and stuff like that. And you're like, shit, there's like tons of these characters, like all these generations that have moved on. And that's one of the things I love about JSA is I love that there's a mix. There's like you get the old guard like Jay and Alan and all that, and then you've got the younger characters like Stargirl and Jakeem as well. He takes over from Thunder. Yeah. So you get all that stuff.
Well, and then you have the mid ones like Liberty Bell / Jesse Quick. You know, and
I can't hear Liberty Bell now without thinking of Glow.
I know, because she has both of those legacies. Who else was there? Jade, who's Alan Scott's daughter, Obsidian, her brother. Like,
oh, he's a villain though. Well, not always, but he did go villain.
Not always. Yeah. So, but he's still a legacy to his mother. You know, like
played by Lance Henriksen in Legends of Tomorrow.
For real? Wait, Obsidian shows up?
Yeah.
Oh, god damn it! I gotta get caught up.
Because they meet the JSA in like the 1930s or 40s, and then they meet Old Man Obsidian in the 80s, and it's played by Lance Henriksen.
That's fantastic.
Your mic's going, Matt. All right. So next up, one of our patrons at Eritrine. If you said that right, Tyler. It's goddamn Tyler. He's got a stupid handle, right? He's Tyler. But he asked, which comic hit you with the strongest gut punch, and why?
If you're expecting any other answer, it's.
Here we go.
You go first, Pete. Let's see. Let's see where you're at.
God. This is one of these ones that I'd really have to sit and think about. Like, you know, like what hit me emotionally, what shot me to my core. I was like, no, what are you doing? Don't do this. I think an obvious answer is Identity Crisis. Like, and I think why that one sticks out so well is because it did it with characters that I didn't necessarily care about that much before the story started.
Yeah, but you because of the way Meltzer's told that story, you got a quick vibe of Ralph and Sue, and
exactly.
they were kind of the parents of the Justice League,
or even with Tim's dad in that story.
Yeah,
I didn't really care about Tim that much when I first read that.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So for me, it's around the same era, but it's Infinite Crisis. I think 6 when Superboy sacrifices himself. Yeah, because it's all the lead up to that where he had turned evil because of the Lex genetics, you know, and he'd used them in the Insiders, and he'd exiled himself to the farm, and Cassie comes and finds him and talks him into coming and help, and they have their whole one night thing, and then he goes and him and Nightwing team up and they take out the tower, and that issue ends with both of them lying there, and I'm just like, no. So
if I can give just a recent example, just for something that's from the last couple of years.
I know what you're gonna say.
I don't know if you are.
Because
I'm going to mention Wonder Woman.
Okay, nope, it's not.
I'm curious what you were thinking though.
I was thinking of the Clayface Cassandra stuff.
I mean that hurt. Like
that one.
Batgirl getting mad at Batwoman for that, and the way she reacted was that was heartbreaking. That was good stuff. And I was thinking, when Veronica interferes so that Wonder Woman doesn't know that Cheetah or Barbara Ann's in trouble, which leads to her being Cheetah again, and there's that tragedy of like she's going to become the villain once again. Like
Yeah.
that was mapped out very well.
Yeah.
And
I mean, that's just Rucka, like, weaving. He's throwing his fastball on that one. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, so
Pretty
there you
good.
go. And we'll have one final question. From at the name's going off the screen here. From at Stuon. Yeah, that's Stuon. So you're getting married, and for some reason you can only choose DC characters to be your best man and groomsman. Also note that they will be planning your bachelor party. It actually says bachelorette party, but I'm assuming he means bachelor party.
Yeah, yeah.
And the best man will be doing a speech at your wedding. So who do you choose?
Oh, this is easy.
Can I ban you from Superman? Can I do that?
Oh, yeah, yeah. No Superman, no Clark. Clark's,
Okay.
you know,
All right.
Clark's gonna take, like, he'll be there covering the wedding, let's just say.
Okay.
You know, he can't
Oh,
stand
because you're
up.
that important that you send the newspaper. All
I'm
right.
saying, let's say I'm Snapper Carr, right? And I have a relationship with all these heroes, you know? So, or Jimmy Olsen, rather. Yeah. So, but yeah. So best man comes down to two people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's all who I think is going to be more responsible, and neither of these guys should be, right? But it's either Guy Gardner or Booster Gold. Which, if you put those two together, you have my best man at my actual wedding.
Did you see what Booster did for Batman's wedding? Are you mad?
Yeah, but he his gift to me is he doesn't have to give me a gift. That's no gift, none. So, but they seem like good hangs. They seem like they'd be a good time. So, you know, those two guys, and then rounding him out is probably Wally West, because that dude, I love that dude so much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ah, dear. Best man. I'm trying to think specifically because it mentions a speech. I'm trying to think specifically who I'd want to make a speech.
Oh.
Like who'd be good at the speech specifically. All right. I feel like I'm taking an easy pick if I pick Dick, right? That's the easy choice, and I don't want to take the easy choice.
It makes sense.
I want to do something more interesting than that. Who talks good? who has great monologues?
Kyle's an artist.
Kyle's an artist.
Kyle.
He can be a groomsman. Having Dick and Wally can be groomsmen. I'm trying to think of something more interesting for best man for the sake of or if I'm
don't want Hawkman.
No, of course not. If we're planning I want someone who won't plan something tacky or
Oliver
stupid.
Queen's out.
Yeah, Oliver Queen's out. No way I'm picking Oliver Queen. He's done. What about Clayface? He'd be like, let's watch some old movies for your party. I'd be like, yeah, that sounds good. Let's watch some old movies. Let's do that.
Let's watch the movies I was in.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like Swamp Thing will be maybe Batman is a good one. Not Bruce Wayne, Batman specifically, because it'll be short and to the point.
Right. Gotham needs me, and then he's gone. Like, that's a speech.
I hope these two stay married forever for justice. And just off he goes.
You don't want Dick planning your bachelor party though, because look what happened at Bruce's.
Oh god, yeah, I don't want that.
Yeah, you don't want that. I just know with Booster or Guy Gardner, there's going to be some kind of debauchery that ends with somebody getting punched. I don't know who's getting punched, but something's happening, and you know.
I'll tell you what. I can say for sure, Wildcat will be on the guest list.
Yeah, security,
absolutely.
Security. Yeah.
Yeah.
See, my security would be Bibbo, because ain't nobody getting in there.
Yeah, and obviously I want Streaky being the ring bearer, the rings up the aisle. That's what you want.
Come riding in Comet. And Bat Cow.
Do you know what fact I learned the other day? I learned that horses produce up to 10 gallons of saliva a day.
That makes sense. They're massive creatures.
It's a lot of spit. That's all I'm saying. It's a lot of spit. But yeah, I guess I'll just have those as my answers. There you go. That's fine. It's an interesting question though. I'll give you that. That's an interesting question. But no, I think someone. Yeah, I'm going with Clayface.
Oh, you're weird.
Oh, Man Bat. I like it, especially Man Bat from that Justice League Dark issue we just got. Like, I like the idea of him in a tux, giving a speech.
He's wearing a fancy hat.
Yes, he's wearing a fancy hat.
Oh man, fancy hat and glasses on a bat.
Yeah. Yeah. There you go.
Jeez.
Oh dear. I'll put Man Bat and Batman at the same table as well, just for the lols.
You put me here twice. No, this is Man Bat. Bruce, are you dyslexic?
Dear. Anyway, and Guy Gardner's I'll invite him. I'll be nice, but he's sitting right next to the toilet. That's where his table is.
I think he'll be fine because he's gonna bring whatever drinks anyways.
Oh yeah.
He brings his own. Also, I just thought too, with Booster Gold as your best man, you're definitely doing some time travel, and if it's me, we're going to see dinosaurs. So that
sounds like a thing. Yes. All right. Well, that's question time over.
Yeah.
So thanks to everyone. Obviously, if we didn't get to your question, don't worry too much. We could only pick so many, but we will be needing more questions for week 5 when we get there, because that'll again be another quieter week. I think we have like 4 books that week. Plus the Connor's Corner stuff as well, but I mean that's still only about 6 or 7 in total, so we will be wanting questions on week 5. So we'll be putting out tweets and stuff at the time for that. But yeah, so without further ado, we will move on to the actual books. Where's my list? Here we go. So we'll start with Justice League. I think Justice League number 6. Scott Snyder writing, Jorge Jimenez on the art. And let me get the book up here. So I'm curious, Matt, how giddy were you with the final page of this?
So I got super stoked, but again, this is so dense. And as I was trying to read it, I had somebody talking to me on my break. So I was just kind of powering through it. So I think I understand how we got there, but I'm not 100% sure. I did have a friend message me and go, "That's definitely the White Lantern symbol, right? That's not the Black Lantern symbol." I go, "Yes, because white is the symbol of life."
Yes.
Okay. It's been like, and then he's like, "It's been like 11 years." And then I thought about it, like, yeah, Blackest Night was like
2008.
Yeah, 2000. Yeah, started in 07.
Been
so
10 years. Yeah.
Holy crap!
I know it's funny. I feel like what you just said there before, though, about you think you know how we got here, but there's a lot of details that, and I'm not sure how they all exactly line up or make sense. I feel like that basically sums up how I feel about Snyder's writing sometimes, where he throws in so many so many concepts and like ideas, and like, you know, you do this and this will happen. I'm like, okay, sure. That's to say I didn't enjoy this issue. I did enjoy this issue quite a bit. I actually, I mean, the hero's been beaten down. Batman fighting Lex Luthor inside Superman's body at a micro level, and Lex Luthor it's not winning per se in a fighting sense, but he gets to the doorknob first, and he's like kind of winning.
Upper hand.
And he's
because Bruce. This is what happens anytime if Bruce subscribes to a certain not characteristics, but he plays by the rules. So this is like a boxer going into a match, going like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna hit below the belt." Whereas Lex is the boxer that's like, "Oh no, that's the first thing I'm doing. Right? I don't follow the same set of rules you do." And that's how I took that fight into this. And that's basically Lex's thing. That's entropy. That's doom. You know, he's gonna find his way no matter what. I will say that the first half I thought was that kind of lost me a little bit, but as it kept going, and I just bought on just to keep it going, I liked how it ended with how each of those heroes faced what they needed to face and how they got to the end. That doesn't mean I understood it, but how I think I understand it, I like it.
Yeah, I mean, there's a tease for the next arc with because Black Manta and Cheetah go to retrieve their forces, I think, or the items that will unlock their forces. So it's teasing that Wonder Woman and Aquaman focused stuff. But you know, they're all kind of still spread out. Eventually, Lex, when he gets the doorknob, just zaps Batman away. And Batman's like, Kendra, you have to get Joker under control. You have to get Martian Manhunter back online, if you will, because he's invading in here with his powers. And Kendra's like, oh, something weird's happened to my wings, Batman, and she tries to regain control. But Lex blasts them back to the Hall of Justice, and it's actually here where okay, right, we have to quickly solve this somehow, and John finds out that Cyborg's no longer blocking the ultraviolet stuff, the Umbrax. He's not blocking that. John's doing that on his own, and he figures out that because he kind of actually spoke about how he was feeling about Zhangxi, and basically concludes that because he accepted what he was kind of fighting, and he kind of went with the emotion and just let it be and accepted it, he actually is now sort of regaining control naturally. So they want to inspire everyone to kind of embrace what this Umbrax has given them, and then they can let it control it, and then it'll be okay. And that's fine. And this leads to the Flashmobile that was set up an issue or two ago, which still operates in the Speed Force. John Stewart goes into the Flashmobile, drives around the planet so fast, spreading with his ultraviolet light, how to sort of accept these feelings.
So that's how I understood it, is because he cracked the code of the ultraviolet, all the ultraviolet's connected. That's how he was able to do that, right?
I guess I didn't really think about it too much in that sense, but yeah.
Okay, all right.
Because I just kind of read it as he's going around the planet, all over the planet, emanating his beam to let everyone know how to react to this, how to deal with it.
But I like that, because the whole thing of the ultraviolet core was, this is your inner thoughts you don't share with people.
Yeah.
Right? So that gives them powers, because you want to keep that secret. You don't want to tell your boss that you hate them. Yeah. Right? So it festers inside you, but... And
it's not even about literally telling them, it's more just about accepting it.
Exactly. So if you're just like, yeah, I don't like you, but you know what? I'm going to be the bigger person and go and do my stuff anyways. You know? And I like that that's how he fought it. You didn't fight the energy, you redirected it.
Yeah.
And then you get the Flash with the Still Force, where he can't run through the Still Force. It's creating too much of a barrier. It's going to take him decades to reach what he needs to.
So he needs to slow down. He needs to just
just stops. Yeah. And he takes, Jimenez killed that panel where he's sitting in, a Buddhist meditation, lotus position. And just the Flash not moving is something that's such a weird concept.
And Jean's connecting all of humanity telepathically to help John spread the...
Yeah. And so we all know that each of them are going to have a different force, right? And that's... So did they talk about John's and his isolation? And was his key connecting everybody? So instead of him being isolated,
did you mean Jean? I thought you said John there.
John, yeah. Because he was the other one that they touch on. They talk about John Stewart, Ultraviolet Lantern, and then Barry, he focuses on being still, right? And then you have John, who's connecting everybody, and that's how he overcomes it.
Yeah, because he was shutting everything off. He was keeping it a secret, everything he saw from Vandal Savage.
Right.
So instead, he's going to share his concerns and let everyone kind of shoulder the burden along with him.
Right. So I liked all of that, but it was so... I don't want to say sunk down, because that makes it sound like it's bad, but it's not. But it's so in there, and there's so much else going on. I almost feel like this should have been 2 issues versus just 1.
No, I kind of see what you're saying. I mean, I think overall it was a pretty good issue. I like how it builds. But when he starts throwing around all these crazy ideas, I always feel like he rushes through them in a really quick way. But that's just something I have a problem with in Snyder's writing in general. But at least here I'm still having fun, and it all builds up. We see that Kendra shows up again. She's still inside the totality with Lex.
Yeah.
And Lex notices that the colour of the doorknob's actually changing, and he's like, what the hell's happening? And this is obviously the effect of what's happening with John Stewart and what he's doing. And then Joker's mad because someone's just pulled a bigger joke than he ever has, and then that's when we get the final page. The Earth has changed to a white glow, and the White Lantern symbols over it.
Yeah.
Because John's expecting it to be green. He's expecting to
Right.
restore everyone's will, and instead it's kind of restoring life. And I guess it kind of makes sense in a weird way, because
Yeah.
ultraviolet's kind of the opposite of white light.
Right. It
So
is. It's the unseen light. It's not. So it's death isn't the opposite of life, right? Like it's a part of life. That's what we learned in Blackest Night.
yeah, it's yeah, sure.
So yeah. So of course the opposite of the seen is the unseen. So I like how he took something that was established and he's flipped it on its side. I won't say he's completely flipped it around, but he's like making us look at it in a different way. That's kind of what he did with the Still Force as well. You
Hmm.
know, it's created this barrier that the more Barry fights it, the more powerful it becomes. So in order to overcome it, you don't fight it.
I think
Uh,
what I like about this is I like that he's bringing in the White Lantern stuff. Like
yeah.
it's just it feels like he's genuinely pulling from a lot of DC history. Some of
Mhm.
it more recent than others, but at the same time, I'm like, yeah, this is 10 years old now. That's actually
Yeah.
Blackest Night and everything about it actually is kind of part of DC history. So because I think for a long time it kind of feels like, oh, that was something that just recently happened. That's part of what's just
That
been
was
going
it.
on.
Yeah.
But now it's 10 years old, and it's like, oh, okay, yeah, that's just part of like the backlog now.
I
that's,
need to get I need to get that hardcover and I need to reread it now that it's 10 years.
hmm.
Like, oh, I can't believe it's 10 years.
Yeah, it's been a while.
That's so
Um,
crazy.
yeah, I love Blackest Night. Blackest Night's a great book.
Back
Uh,
in one of my I was telling my friend it was probably my top five stories of all time,
hmm.
just because it's so solid. It's more than just zombies. Like I know a lot of people try to write it off, but the stuff of what it has to say and the different cores and here it fits in with the theme of entropy too and doom. You know, because that's kind of what the opposite of it is yeah, we know this is going on, but we still have to live, you know, and I feel like that's what Luther has to learn. Is like, yeah, entropy is always going to happen, you know. So we'll see where it goes. But no, I liked it. It's just it's a lot compressed in there.
Yeah.
So
Oh, it's kind of like that old saying, courage is not the absence of fear, it's the presence of fear, yet the will to go on.
yep,
It's kind of the same thing. Like, entropy is always
yeah,
going to be there, but it's not about
right,
getting rid of it, it's about
right,
overcoming
and
it.
that's what makes Lex a villain because Lex feels like he has to control it,
Hmm.
right, and not just go with it. And here, so my biggest issue with this book is not understanding what Joker's joke was. Is that the purpose? Like, was that
um, I
because
mean,
it starts and we get this really cool page and Jimenez killed it of possible Joker origins,
yeah.
and that's the joke with him is Joker doesn't even really know at this point if what his what was he the Red Hood, was he this failed comedian, was he a sick kid, or was he a regular kid that just broke bad, right? And then you kind of get lost in what's going on in the story with all the I don't want to call it minutia, but all the still force and John and the ultraviolet, and then it comes back to Joker with Kendra,
Yeah,
and
no,
it starts again with what the joke is, and I feel like I missed something.
I feel like what it's really saying here is the joke, because he feels like he's accomplished the greatest joke he's ever pulled, and I think that's like
Right.
helping turn the world into its opposite, right? That's the big grand
Okay.
joke, and then when it turns into the White Lantern symbol, and it's like, oh, everything's changed again. It's like, oh, someone's pulled an even bigger joke on me. So he's like, oh, now he's jealous. Now he has to
Right.
kill thousands to make up for
Okay.
this,
Yeah.
which is just Joker in a nutshell, I guess. But
Yeah.
actually, can I just say how I'm digging the third person narration boxes.
Hmm.
I think it's a really simple and neat way of making it feel like this epic story that's really important. Like someone is telling this later, or someone's even. It's actually not even later. I think if it was told in the past tense,
It would be, but this is, you know what? I wouldn't be surprised. He brought back the monitor, so it wouldn't
oh
surprise me
yeah.
if the monitor's narrating
Like,
this.
I mean, if it was told in the past tense, it feel like it was important. But I think having it in present tense, but also third person narrated, it
Hmm.
makes it feel like it's something important that's happening right now. Like, and that sounds obvious, but what I mean is it feels like this epic grand thing where there's, and it could be the monitor, but some unseen force, some being from above is like commenting on what's happening and kind of almost agnostically just kind of analyzing and observing what's happening.
Yeah.
It gives it that kind of feeling, and I was noticing it a lot in this issue. I was like, man, this gives it a really unique kind of vibe that's different to a lot of Snyder's other books and to most other books, really. Because most of the time, it's just it's the characters narrating. Whereas here, there's actually in this issue, I don't think there's any narration from any of the characters. I think all the narration's all third person.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
No, but yeah, it's the art. I mean, I love Jimenez, so that goes without saying. You know.
Solid. I mean, there's the odd shaky moment here or there.
Yeah.
Where it feels like the background might have been rushed a little bit just to save some time. Like there's one panel where it's the Flash and he looks really great, but Aquaman and Wonder Woman who are standing behind him have like no detail on their face whatsoever.
Yeah.
And you can tell there's little corners here or there that maybe were cut to make the deadline. But and I'm not going to blame him, double shipping. And I know he had the last issue off, but still, that's like 4 issues in the space of 2.5 months.
Yeah, I'm curious to see where it goes with the life and what that means for Luthor's plan going forward, because we still have all of these. Because like you mentioned, Black Manta got the Tear of Extinction and then like the Key of the Gods.
Yeah, so I'm assuming Black Mantas will be like almost like evil oil, like it's the opposite of water. It'll ruin the water almost. Like we're going with something like that, or I don't know. And then I'm not sure what Cheetahs is going to do though for Wonder Woman. I'm not sure what that one's going to.
No, I mean I wonder if it has anything to do with those what they teased in the crossover with those the whatever gods.
No, that was in Wonder Woman's book. That was
Robinson's. Oh, that was Wonder Woman's?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I'm not sure, but I'm curious to find out. But I mean, it makes sense that the Aquaman one would be some kind of like poison to water,
Yeah. Or even if it's just to all kinds of life. I mean.
Yeah.
Because that's kind of what Black Manta is about. Is he's all about revenge, and if he can wipe out as much sea life as he can, that's gonna hurt Aquaman more than anything.
Yeah. So we'll see how that shapes up. But no, I mean, I thought it was a solid issue. I'm liking all the big grandiose stuff. It does kind of rush through these big concepts. It makes them feel kind of like, I don't want to say out of nowhere per se, but just feel a little bit hard to swallow on a first glance. But for the most part, they're pretty fun though. At the very least, like it leads to big grand moments that are really ridiculous and silly fun. So, I'm enjoying this more than I've enjoyed Snyder in a while. I think. Like I'm liking this on the whole more than I'm liking Metal so far.
Yeah, but again, I think Metal was this big bombastic thing, whereas this it's a little more focused.
Oh sure.
So, yeah. I think it's. Yeah.
So we're at the book then. Justice League number 6. What are you thinking?
So I'm thinking, just because of the story not being that clear and it gets overwhelmed, but I still really liked it and the art was still. I think I'm gonna give it an 8. I think that's a pretty solid, fair score.
Yeah, I think that's fair. I'm gonna give it an 8 as well. I think the pacing is just a little bit muddy at times, but most of the big stuff that happens is really exciting. And we didn't even mention Kendra's new wings that we don't know what they're made of yet. But
no,
something happened to her in that totality. We got these new glowing wings.
Sure, it's some kind of metal, So
it'll be her like other force. It'll be the whatever the opposite of nth is.
An upside down N is a U, so we'll try to figure something out.
The nth force, yes.
Yeah.
But hey. But that'll take us on to Batman number 53, Tom King writing, Lee Weeks on the art. This is the final part of this arc. This 3-parter where we're in jury duty, and this issue is continuing what Matt loves about the last one, which is Bruce Wayne arguing that Batman, it's not because it's Batman.
Flawed.
Yeah. And in this one, it goes so far that he compares everyone else's belief in Batman to a belief in a god, and then seeks out to say that he's not a god. He is he can make mistakes. He's infallible. He is fallible. You know what I mean?
Yes.
But and I'm like, okay, right. This is solid stuff. This is more of what we got last time, and intercutting this with because obviously the whole time you've been saying he is in this way because of what happened to Selina. That is what's messed him up. And it actually in this issue, it actually gets to that point in the sort of the flashback images of what happened, where he sees Selina in the rooftop at one point. And it's just and it's after we see that where he gets angry at the jury table and he kind of he puts his head down, and they're kind of asking if he's all right. But Because it was funny, because when he asked that woman if she was wearing a cross, and she's like, "Yeah, I'm religious. Is that a problem?" He's like, "No, that's not a problem." But as I was, I can see where he's going with this. He's saying that they all believe in Batman to the point where that he is a god, that he can't make a mistake. And I'm like, Matt probably loves this. Matt is so into this comparison.
So I enjoyed it, but I felt it was a little bit too much. It doesn't quite stick the landing.
Okay.
Like, I liked the content, just the way that it was presented in this issue. I felt like we could have had another issue, because there's still some hanging threads with Mr. Freeze. And I know that's not the focus, but still, if Batman had missed this, and it had happened in between, that's still a pretty major thing.
Oh, I wonder,
someone still killed these girls and was trying to blame Freeze.
Yeah, we don't actually. We don't know that, but I mean, that may just be what the next story is. It may be him going
It could be.
Yeah.
It could be, but yeah, I felt like the whole comparing him to a god and stuff. It just a little bit too far on King's part. Like, he really had me at the beginning, and then we start talking about his dad and this and that, and it's the fact that he's talking about himself too. It's not like this is a third party talking about Batman. It's Bruce talking about himself. So,
well, see, now I like this, because when he starts talking about it, and he starts talking about Batman saving them and saving him, and it works because what he's talking about is the idea that he retreats into Batman when he can't deal with what's going on, and that's what he did. He retreated into Batman, and Batman makes mistakes. Batman, like, I like that a lot, because it was like him acknowledging what he's doing with what he's using Batman as a persona to cover up for himself and to mask. So obviously we get the big thing here at the end, where he convinces them, of course, to not try Mr. Freeze, or find him guilty, and he says to Alfred, "Hey, get my suit, the original suit. I have to remember who I am." So this is us getting to the suit that was teased like a month or two ago. Sort of more classic.
Trunks are back.
Yeah, trunks are back, black and grey. This is what we're doing, which is cool. Like, it is nice to go back to this.
It's a weird excuse for him to suit up, because, I don't know. Like, that's fine. I'm not. I know one of my friends in particular was really upset that this was the excuse for getting the old suit, because he feels like he didn't need to change. But I was like, yeah, but that's comics, right? Like, that's. Yeah, at least they tried to explain it.
I get it thematically, though. It completely makes sense to me. He's saying that Batman's become this thing that's this godlike legend that everyone, and that's kind of what was by intent. He kind of created that, but even to him, it became that. It became this thing where when I'm Batman, I'm invincible. So he's going back to the start of like this whole thing. He's like, I need to remember who I was. I need to remember what it felt like when I was struggling, when I was starting out, when I was like, it was just about the ideals. It was about solving the problems.
Yeah, well, it's about his parents. Like, I really love the stuff about his parents and his dad, who was religious and wanted him to go that way, and he still kind of did, but in his own way. So yeah, I liked all that. But it's just a lot of the God stuff, and religion makes me uneasy. I'm not gonna lie to people.
I'm not religious at all. Like,
Well, it's one of those things where I don't know a lot about it, and what I do know about it,
but
it leaves a bad taste,
yeah,
right?
This is why I like this comparison, though. It doesn't necessarily insult religion, but I think the comparison itself is kind of pointing out what's flawed about religion.
Yeah, well, and I'll take this comparison over comparing Superman, like Zack Snyder liked to do.
Oh, sure.
Like,
because
it makes more sense to me for Batman, because the whole idea of Batman is he is a belief. That's
Yeah, but the whole thing is that these people are putting too much belief in something, and in this case it's Batman, so he's comparing it to a god. Now, the reason why it doesn't cross any kind of weird lines is because God wouldn't actually be there to criticize in this kind of same way. But the point he's making is that no, like, you can't just take everything he says as a straight up fact. He can be at fault. He can make mistakes.
Well, yeah, that was the whole point of the Book of Job that King uses as a comparison. So yeah, I don't know. I was really enjoying it, and this issue was really wordy, and Bruce using it to compare himself. He's tampering with the damn jury, and then they even kind of admit to that, right? Was Alfred being facetious?
No, no, I think this is true. This answers a question that Connor
Uh,
had, where he didn't
yeah,
quite buy that they would ever accept him because he's Bruce
yeah,
Wayne, and he's kind of he's publicly kind of not acknowledged, but it's been kind of implied that he's
oh,
funded Batman in some way, or he supported Batman. Um, so it actually kind of explains that. That's why he was picked, because he
okay,
actually bribed someone to get on the
yeah,
jury. Because, and I'm kind of okay with that. It kind of makes sense to me that he kind of felt that he'd went too far, or he made a
right,
mistake. So this was his way of fixing it. This was his way of
yeah,
ensuring the process stopped the mistake. Um, for you
yeah,
can debate it morally if
okay.
this is the right way of
Well,
doing it
no,
all
that
you
that
want,
that
but
changes a lot of the ending now too,
yeah,
because I thought Alfred was just being facetious,
mm,
being sassy Alfred that King likes to write. Him going, yes, but sir, I'm sure bribing a jury wasn't the best idea. You know, or bribing to get on a jury, but I
yeah,
wasn't sure if that was the actual facts of it. But that kind of changes how I see it then if he did to own up all of this, and that's how why Batman isn't a god. Because if Batman
yeah.
was in full control of all of this, then
'Cause-
he wouldn't have been self-aware enough to do it all.
Yeah,
You
absolutely.
know?
And he like those pages where he realizes he'd retreated into Batman, where he realized that he was almost happy for the first time, and the pain that that's caused him. This self awareness that he is retreating into this godlike figure that he's sort of created for himself. Um, like I think it's fascinating. This idea that he knows he relies on the idea of Batman too much, and that's not to say that he has to give it up. It's just he has to keep a healthy understanding of who he is and what he's doing. Um,
Yeah.
and
Well, and that fits into the thematics from where King started with Gotham or Gotham Girl.
Oh yeah,
You
the
know?
entire run's about him
Yeah.
analyzing himself and accepting
Yeah.
who he
Well,
is.
damn it. See, this is one of those times, like, not as big as Mr. Miracle. We're talking about it has opened it up a little bit
Mm.
or to a different understanding. Because now, whereas I thought it didn't stick the landing with a little bit of spotlight on a different part of it, it really does in a much better way.
Yeah,
You know?
I'm glad I
I
achieved that then.
yeah, well, I'm still not saying I enjoyed it as much as the previous two issues,
Yeah,
because it's Bruce kind of being preachy about himself. It's most of the dialogue in this is him talking about himself. So, that's a bit too far, I think. I think it would have worked better as a conversation with the lady, you know,
sure.
but
I mean, I guess
he only has 30 pages though, right? Like, so you can't have
yeah.
a full My Dinner with Andre about Batman, you know?
Well, it's actually more like 20 pages, but I mean, he
Well,
I mean, I think it works because it's not like as much as he's comparing himself to a god, he's doing it in a way that's saying no, he's not a god, and this devout belief that he can do no wrong is actually a problem. It's actually a flaw. The system, as much as Batman's there to chase after criminals and stuff, the system still has to be in place to prove that that was the right thing to do in the first place.
mhm.
Um, and I think I was into it. I liked it a lot. For me, it did
Yeah,
stick the landing. And I think this is
yeah,
actually one of the best arts that King's done in terms of
yeah.
analyzing Batman.
Yeah, I'll agree with that now that we that we talked it out. Like, that's
If only I can convert you with every time you debate me.
yeah. I'll say
That'd be
and
nice.
this is what I will point always people too. Everyone's like, you just don't like Batman because it's Batman. I was like, no. If you present me with a smart enough argument that's not just like, again, because Batman, then yes, we will. I will back down. You
This
know?
was this is the time, if this was Arrested Development, where it flashed
Yeah,
back to about an hour ago when I asked you
yeah,
who you'd kill from DC. You went,
yeah,
"Can I pick Batman? Can I pick Batman?
yeah.
Can I pick
So
Batman?"
yeah, yeah, yeah. So um, but yeah, I mean, I
Hmm.
still have problems with it. I think I'm less high on it than you are,
Oh sure,
but
yeah.
I was really high on the last couple issues though too. Um, so I guess it
Um,
always balances out. Is my point.
But art was really good again. Of course, Leavick's killing it.
Athletes,
There's
our
the
wisest
when he's
sellers.
describing to the jury about him being away and coming back to the city, and obviously they don't know he's talking about being Batman, but he's like, "Oh, I came back," and there's that full page spread of him gliding through the city in the grapple, with the sun behind him, the sunset behind him. It's really pretty, really good stuff. And also the pages where he's in pain, where he sees that 2 pages back to back, where it's him looking up and he sees Catwoman's silhouette on the fire escape.
Yeah,
That stuff is gorgeous and very atmospheric.
the page I really enjoyed was the back to back pages with the villains, and they're all done in different colors.
Ah,
You
yeah,
know,
he's talking about Gotham's a place with monsters, and it's
yeah,
I love how
demons,
the one that said demons. I think that's the Scarecrow's panel.
Scarecrow.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that was really
and they're
nice.
all different colors. So the Joker's purple and green, and then you have Penguins, which is this light blue, and then you get to the Scarecrow and it's orange. Riddler's green. Um, but each one of the things that it goes matches that villain, you know. So like he gets to Two Face and he says every shadow is met, every horror is put down, you know. So you know, but it's just it looks so good.
Yeah,
And
I'm looking at those two pages again with Batman looking up and seeing Catwoman in the fire escape. Can I just like those two pages are so dark. Like I love that compared to the rest of the issue. It's not like it's a bright issue necessarily, but
you know,
compared to the rest of the issue, so much of those pages is just outright jet black. And
yeah,
it's the idea that it's complete nighttime and it's just the street light or the moonlight coming through the window that's lighting things up, and you see like the grating of all these things. And then when you look up at Catwoman, it's just nothing but black except the one slip between the two buildings where she is. And it's just this idea that he is in complete darkness right now. He's maybe in the worst place he's been.
yeah.
Since since his
Since his parents.
Yeah.
Well, and you look at that expression on his face too. Like
Yeah.
Weeks killed that, where you feel that. But and then even when it gets back to the jury room and Bruce's face is in, it's obscured to match that, page 2 pages before. So yeah.
So no, it's really good stuff. So we'll rate Batman out of 10. What are you giving it?
So after some discussion, this is definitely an 8.5. I was a little bit lower on it. I was probably going to give it an 8 beforehand, but
Well, I'm going with a 9. I think this was great, and I think it stuck the landing. Probably one of the best arts King's done on the book. And I see a very good art. There's a little bit one or two that have faltered for me, really. The Poison Ivy one sticking out has been a bit weirder in the storytelling department. But hey, so we'll move on to Green Lanterns 53. This is Dan Jurgens writing, Marco Santucci on the art.
This book, I swear.
I'm going to assume you liked this issue, Matt.
I like the ending. I'm just going to be upfront. I don't care about Eon. I don't know how this is factoring in.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like Eon's going to be one of these villains that we'll forget about years down the road.
Well, this is the weird thing, is that Eon's not actually the main bad guy. Someone else is talking to him.
And that's what I mean. And we've had 3 issues of setup that we know that Eon's just the muscle, right?
I mean, unless the villain at the end is revealed as the one who's talking to him, but that feels a bit... I mean, it works, but I don't know if that's what they're implying.
But even with this, you feel like the setup is that you're going to see who's controlling Eon, because he keeps saying we, and it's like, is there a whole species that he's a part of, or a group, and that's who's using these marauders to take out the different planets and stuff. And you see a cool fight with him and Guy Gardner, and Gardner's able to deal with him, which I like.
Yeah, because he can grow really big, and then Guy's like, oh, you can grow big? Well, it's not like I'm lacking in energy, and then he makes a big version of himself that he's inside.
Which is pretty cool. So. And then you get Simon, and he's like, he doesn't know what to do, because his ring's telling him one thing, but his gut's telling him to go with another.
That's why I'm not convinced that the reveal at the end is behind everything. Well, no, it must be though, because that's what's getting Simon to come here.
Right. And why is this person? Because I don't want to spoil the reveal. Because I got to there and I was at work reading this. I started laughing.
We'll get to it in a minute, but
it should have made sense throughout.
It's just weird. I don't see how he would have the power to corrupt the all the rings like this, or at least Simon's ring.
I'm telling you, it has to do with the fact of his power set.
Yeah, okay. So, I mean, up until that point, I mean, you've got Jessica and Hal, like, protecting ships, and you've got Kilowog and Kyle destroying the main ship, which, makes all the other ships sort of, like, blind, so they all have to evacuate. Whoever's controlling Eon calls him back after he's been fighting with Guy. I mean, it's a fun enough ROM. All the action's kind of fun. The banter between the various characters is good. I think it's a solid enough issue. It's maybe not it's probably a step down from the previous one. I think the art's definitely rougher than the past few.
Yeah, the art's
I
Yeah,
think
the
that
art here I think looks really good compared to where it's been. It doesn't it doesn't hurt that there's a really cool page with the polar bear on it. You know, it
that's
looks.
literally the opposite of what I just said. But okay.
I think this art. I don't know if it's the shadows or whatnot, but this didn't bother me as much as the other issues.
Oh god,
So
I much preferred the first two issues in this arc for
no,
the art.
no,
Um,
yeah. But you also like that shady where where there's a lot of shadows and stuff.
I mean I do.
That's
I think it makes sense for space especially, but there was a lot of times in this one where I was kind of like not feeling the overall kind of look. I thought some of the faces just felt a little bit simple. I guess is
well, yeah. All of the Marauders look the same, or the Ravagers, whatever they are.
mm.
Ravagers. They all look like they're the same person, like they're all cloned.
I mean it's
Um,
not bad. Don't get me wrong, but I
no,
feel like the faces and their expressions just felt a little bit in the simple and cartoony side at times for me. Um, and everything's very
which I like.
bright.
I like a simple style though too, and I feel like after the last couple issues where I wasn't
Mm.
so hot on the art, this was a nice change. Um,
Mm. I
so
don't know. It's just I guess the most accurate for me would be this is the least interesting art we've had in this arc so far.
yeah,
Which
yes,
it's a taste thing. I mean, but
yeah.
you know. So anyway, so yes, so whoever's controlling the rings is convinced Simon to go to Earth, and he ends up in the Arctic. And I immediately went, the Arctic? Are we doing a Fortress of Solitude thing here? What's happening? And sure enough, he's right outside the fortress. And he's like, I'm not breaking out of the fortress. This is Superman's place.
Huh?
And then we see like, oh, but I've got a message from Superman here, and the ring, like does a little hologram, and it's kind of obscure. You can see the S, and you can kind of see half the face. And he's like,
Yeah.
ah, nah, come in now. I'm trapped inside. He's like, okay then. So he starts, getting a big green battering ram up, and he's going in. And the final page is that the one who's actually sending him the message and presumably controlling all the rings, or at least his ring, is Cyborg Superman, which is funny to me because obviously Jurgens is the one who imprisoned them in here in Action Comics. So
Yeah.
this is Jurgens just being like, oh, I've left that in there to play with. I'm going to use that.
It's Cyborg Superman. Like that's Jurgens. Any Jurgens story he could get Cyborg Superman in, he's going to. Like I think the only time I've ever read a Jurgens book where it hasn't Cyborg Superman hasn't shut up was in Booster Gold. But I think at a certain point they did some timey-wimey stuff and Cyborg
Hey, to
Superman
be
was the
fair,
villain.
I'm pretty sure he never showed up in Batman Beyond when he was writing it. Let's give him credit.
We don't know. We don't know yet because we didn't finish it. Uh, so, of course, as soon as they got to the fortress, my brain started going, huh? And then I'm thinking about all the stuff that from that Justice League arc with that Priest had done.
Mm-hmm.
That Simon has this. He looks up to Superman, and he's like, "Oh man, I get to go to lunch with him." So he's like, "Oh, this is why am I getting called to the fortress?"
That was a nice bit of connective tissue, though. That setup made
Yeah.
this feel a little bit more. I don't want to say important necessarily, but
No.
it gave it like an extra little flavor because it was like it wasn't
Yeah.
just like Superman who he barely knows. It was like no, we've seen him interact
Yeah.
with Superman, we've seen him be nervous with Superman,
Hmm.
so it added an extra
So,
little bit of character to this. Like I don't want to break
so
out of
he's
the
like, "Oh,
fortress.
yeah, what? Yeah, I'm not gonna do that." And then of course it's Cyborg Superman because it's Dan Jurgens, and I went, "Oh, he's a technopath. He can." And the rings, we
Sure.
forget the rings are technology. They're not magic rings. So
I don't dislike this. I feel like it's actually kind of a fun because I always like it when villains cross over to different heroes.
yeah,
I'm always a fan of that. I
sure.
think that makes for some fun, especially when it comes to the Green Lantern. Just kind of like I mean I wasn't reading it, but Zod being in Green
Yeah,
Lantern Corps. It's just it makes sense for a lot of the space villains to end up fighting the Green Lantern Corps at some point.
yeah.
It
Well, I
works.
like that. It seems to create a cosmic like a I don't want to say crossover, but there's a sense of connectivity between the cosmic when you do this type of stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and don't forget that Cyborg Superman was on the Sinestro Corps for a bit
Oh
during
yeah.
during the Sinestro War. He was one of their
I
four
forgot.
pillars.
Yeah,
They're
I'd
guardians.
forgotten about that. Yeah.
It was Superboy Prime, Sinestro, uh, Cyborg Superman, and the Anti Monitor. So
Oh yeah, in fact,
yeah,
he's the one who nuked the city, right?
yep,
That's right.
yeah.
Okay. Okay.
So he shows up and it makes all sense. So I'm wondering if there's still a mystery of who killed the Guardian, and what's going on Mogo because I don't that doesn't seem to be technologically driven unless it's Mogo's ring, and because he's a planet. It's a planet. I don't want to assume.
Because they say that's still going on. All the ships have left,
Yeah.
but Mogo's still having the storms, so that's still
Yeah.
happening. I'm still intrigued by all that stuff, and I'm digging the plot. I think Cyborg Superman does make it feel a bit more schlocky, and which is okay. Like,
Yeah.
I'm into some schlocky comic book storytelling as long as it's fun.
Yeah.
I think the first couple issues though, I definitely thought there was maybe like a more original, intriguing idea going on. Whereas now I'm just kind of like, okay, this will be fun schlock, and that's cool.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I just it helps too when it's Hank Henshaw, and again, there's ties to that cosmic side because of the Fantastic Four origin to him, and blaming Superman, and then overall the galaxy for his bad luck. So yeah, it's I'm wondering how this all fits in now, and I'm enjoying it more that I know kind of where it's going. So it's not just this, because now I feel like if this ends, right, Jurgens is on here until Green Lanterns comes to an end because of this now. It's better to introduce not to introduce something new that we might never see again versus something familiar that we can just play with.
Yeah. So no. So if we're going to rate it, then what are you giving it?
Yeah. I'm also going to give this an 8. I enjoyed this issue a lot. Again, I like the art. I enjoyed it more than the last 3. He's been on it for 3 now, right? Yeah. For the last 3.
No, I mean I probably enjoyed this the least actually if I think about it overall, but I did have fun still. I'm going with 7.5. But I definitely liked the first 3.
Yeah.
The first 2, because the first 2 had the art that I really liked from Perkins.
Yeah.
But yeah, so 7.5 for me. So we'll move on then to Batgirl number 25. This was the delayed Batgirl issue. It was meant to come out at the end of last month. This is the anniversary issue, and by anniversary, all they really mean is 25 is an important number.
25.
So
yeah, it kind of does some fun stuff though with Babs' character. Although I think it would have hit better last month.
Yeah. I've actually noted down all the creators in this because there's so many. I'm just going to say them as we go through the stories.
And it's it's not that it's seamless because you notice when there's a change, but it's not like they're separate stories.
Yeah, I wanted to talk about this. This confused the shit out of me because
me too.
Because I started the book right, and the first story. Let me just get to this first title page.
It's
right?
Bennett.
Yeah, it's not Bennett. No,
it's not Bennett.
No.
Bennett's the second story.
It's Mairghread Scott. Writing it, and Tom Dernick on art, right? And I was like, okay, cool. This is the new writer on the run. I'm excited to see how she does. And I'll just up front, I think both her stories in this are pretty solid, and I'm looking forward to her run now. That's cool, right? But after whatever it is, 8 pages, 10 pages, right? The story keeps going, but the art changed all of a sudden, and I went, oh, that's weird. They only credited one artist on this. Why is it changed? Because it was still the same story, and I was like, why is it changed? And then I got to a page at the end of the story, and it was like, oh, this was by Bennett and another artist, and I'm like, wait, so they actually continued the same story, but so it's they kind of treated it as 2 separate stories, but it actually follows on. Like, it's literally later the same night. It follows right on from the previous, and I feel like usually with these types of issues where they have multiple stories, or it's an annual and they have multiple stories, typically you'll just have separate stories, whereas this one kind of treats it like no, it's like the first 2 are just one big story that's just kind of halved, and then there's a story on its own that's setting up the thing. But even that's a week later, it's still kind of tied into. It's only the last one that's kind of separate. The Paul Dini one at the end is the only one that feels like a random. I don't want to say out of continuity, but just a random story from elsewhere.
Yeah, it doesn't fit with the theme that's going on here. Whereas Babs having issues because she lost someone that she was trying to save, and you come to find out that it's not what we think. Whereas she had showed up, Scarecrow was attacking this museum. Yeah, there were kids there.
Yep.
And this guy went out of his way to save the kids, and he worked with Batgirl. And you think, oh well, then Scarecrow showed up and killed him, and it's like, oh no.
I'll actually like this neat little connective twist here.
Me too.
It turns out this guy she saved was actually he lived for another 9-11 months, whatever it was, and then died on his wedding day. And you see the page, and it's the guy that Joker killed in the church from Batman 48. And I'm like, damn, that is. it's a cool little connection, but it
Yep.
really affected, or well, I don't know if I say it really affected me,
Uh,
but it worked
huh.
because all of a sudden it's like you just took, because I mean that scene in Batman was really effective because Joker's being nuts and
Yeah.
this poor innocent person's getting killed, but
But now, but now you put a face to this and what he did, and
yeah, now he's a
he
person,
was making
and
he was making Gotham a better place through teaching these kids and art
here's the
and
thing, Matt. I don't think this is effective if it started with that. See, if the story started
no,
with this is the guy that Joker killed, let us tell you
yeah,
about him, it wouldn't work as much. But because
no,
they tell us about him, they get us to know him, we understand who he is, we come to respect him because of what he does try to save the kids. We get the Batgirl like sees him as kind of a hero in his own right,
yeah,
and then you tell us this is the guy Joker just shot, without mercy,
yeah,
and it's like shit.
no,
That's the
because
trick here. The Joker
we're familiar
reveal.
with these.
The Joker
Yeah,
reveal has to come at the end of the story, or after
yeah,
enough of it that we already know who he is. I think that is the why this works so well. This little reveal.
yeah. Well, because we're so used to these types of stories in superhero comics, where it's like, oh, it's the one person I could have saved, and that's where you think that this is going, and then when you find out that it had nothing to do with that day she was at the museum, and you're like, oh, okay, well, so she's been following up on this guy, and then you find out it was the wedding that the Joker terrorized, and it hits even more.
Yeah,
So
because obviously the randomness of the Joker is always affecting, but this,
yeah,
I mean, that issue in Batman was great, despite Connor's complaints about the cross.
yeah,
But
Connor's weird.
but this retroactively makes that an even better issue. It's weird,
Yeah,
and it didn't have to. I don't feel like this was forced
no,
on Scott to put
no.
this in. I think this was just, oh, this is a neat way of making this death feel even more
Well,
important.
well, it shows that Gotham is kind of a small place. For as big of a city as it is,
Yeah,
you're never free of the influence of the Batman villains. You know, because one day it's going to be Scarecrow,
and plus
and then
it
your
also
wedding day it's going to be Joker. You know?
plus it also adds in this idea of because the whole thing with Batgirl here is she feels this weird pain because she went through all this to help and save him, and he like was a bit of a hero and she come to like him for that, but she went through all this effort to save them and try and save how many she could on that day the Scarecrow attacked, and she feels this weird sense of not quite guilt but helplessness that he ended up dying anyway. That within a
Right.
year, somehow he get killed randomly anyway, and it's supposed to feel random. And having it be like the Joker's random attack actually
Yeah.
helps that as part of the thematic
Yeah.
point because the Joker is such a random character who just kills anyone. So the idea that who he just picked at random happened to be this person that was already saved by
Hmm.
Batgirl, and that makes her feel like shit because it feels like it was worthless. And obviously the story here is that she's at the funeral, she's hiding up in the back of the funeral, and the mother of the victim sees her, and she
Right.
comes out to talk to her and has like a heart to heart and talks to her about no, it was worth it. Like I got 11 more months with my son. He found love. Like this was not
Right.
worthless. So go out, have a good cry, and get back and do what you do because, like she gives him the pep or
Yeah.
give her the pep talk. And I thought this was a really effective little story that used like a nameless character from a good moment in
Hmm.
another comic, but otherwise
Yeah.
nameless, and turned it into like a really neat little story for Batgirl. I thought that was really
Yeah.
smart.
I thought so too. And then it transitions weirdly. This is my biggest problem to her and Dick meeting at a
Well,
hotel room that, well, it's not any hotel room,
it doesn't
but
transition weirdly. It's only weird because the art changes all of a sudden.
yeah, but like they could have done another title page where she's at the hotel, but
Oh
it
yeah,
goes mid-story. Like,
yeah. That's the weird thing here. If they just gave me another title page to know that we'd switched to a new writer and artist, and it was continuing the story, that'd be fine. It was just really weird how I just turned the page and it's like, well, this art's weird, but we're still continuing this story.
yeah,
I did enjoy this part as well. This was Dick
yeah,
and Babs in a hotel room, and it's like, oh well, this was meant to be the honeymoon suite for Bruce and Selena. We might as well use it because at the end of the first story, she calls Dick and says, "Hey, I need a shoulder to lean on. Can you come?" And ultimately, they're kind of talking about could they like not necessarily them together, but could they ever get married? What do they envision? He's got these dreams of this Honolulu wedding and on the beach and. He wants this peace and quiet, and
mhm,
she also wants peace and quiet, but she just wants peace and quiet on a Sunday morning. She wants to wake up next to someone,
right,
and that's like what she's shooting for at the moment. And it's this really kind of sweet ending where they're kind of lying there together, and the narration says, like I don't really necessarily need like someone to be there all the time, but I need someone to always come when I need them, and Dick is that guy. Like Dick always,
Right.
the Dick always
Of
comes.
course.
But yeah, sweet. That was good.
Yeah, no, but it goes in. I like how this Batgirl run. Dick's popped in a couple times. You know, you had the stuff with the Penguin's son, and then you had the whole summer, or that lost year, with all of that. So he feels like a supporting character in this book, and it's this nice little bittersweet. Like, yeah, you know, we'll probably never get the storybook ending, but this is close enough.
Yeah,
Like, I know.
this worked as a real thing. Now they've got an ongoing thing. We may not be seeing it all the time, but
Yeah.
there's something there. Also, I like the dig about you know, Barbara's kind of joking about, you know, it's not like I necessarily have the dream of the down payment and the little, you know, cottage with the white picket
Yeah.
fence, and he's like, down payment, we're millennials, we'll be renting our coffins.
Yeah. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
Well,
that's solid.
yeah, so, you know, and then that was the honeymoon suite that was meant for Bruce and Selena, which I thought was a nice touch, you know,
Yeah.
still open. So yeah, my only, again, that section of the book, my only problem with it is that it's actually two stories they try to pass off as one, you know? So,
Um, I would almost say it's the opposite problem. I think it's one story they try and pass off as two. If that makes sense?
well, yeah, I mean, the same thing, but like, you know what I mean?
I don't know.
Like,
Yeah, like the only problem we have here really is that it doesn't make it clear that we're switching over to a new team.
there's no transition. Like,
And
you
it does
just,
follow on. Like the story follows on. She calls Dick
yeah,
and says at the end of the first one, says, "Hey, can you
yeah.
come over and give me a shoulder to lean on?" And then it cuts to them in the hotel suite later that same night. It flows perfectly. It's just, oh
Uh,
wait, why is the art changed? And it's like, oh, that was a different
yeah,
story,
a
but
completely different team.
but
So,
still good, and
yeah,
it actually works. Like the story's still good.
yeah,
I don't think it's as great as I mean, I think obviously it's touching my Dick Bab's heart a little bit, but
yeah,
the first story's so good that which is good
yeah,
because she's writing the run. That's just going to be her book now going forward.
yeah.
It's
And
Scott.
it's, well, and the second part is just a decompression of everything. It's
Mm.
her being able just to talk and, you know, bounce stuff off of Dick and stuff. So I like them both. I think I preferred the art in the second section more than the first. So,
Bouncing off of Dick. Yes, that's what you said.
yeah.
I'm sure there was. I mean, although they just wanted to nap together, but I mean, yeah, they might have been bouncing later. Um,
Uh, hey, whatever they want to do, they're both consenting adults.
so then a week later, we have another story. It goes back to Scott, which is interesting. It goes back to Scott
Hmm.
and Paul Pelletier for the art. And this is actually the story that sets up the actual arc that's going on. Grotesque has escaped and is going around. She's looking for him, and she's hacked into security systems for the private security
Hmm.
stuff. And it's led her to this rich person's house, and she finds the dead bodies and the blood. It's like an art display. It's one of these serial killers. Your
Yeah.
Hannibal style kind of. I'm going to put on a display. And she ends up finding him and give him a bit of chase, and like realizes he's going back to Gotham, and that leads us Batgirl back to Gotham, and that's what we're going to do.
Hmm.
It's a solid enough little story. It's more of a tease, this one, and you get.
Yeah.
I like the idea of Grotesque as a villain, so that kind of works. Much more violent than
Yeah,
before.
I'm trying to remember where I remember seeing Grotesque.
New 52, I think.
I feel right. It was
Yeah,
during the
Simone.
what's her name? Simone run.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh,
Okay.
I don't think it was as extreme during that run. I think he's went up a notch to this. But
Yeah, definitely. He was definitely more of like a gentleman thief.
yeah.
You know, here now he's a full on murderer.
Yeah,
So,
and it's
but
interesting.
yeah,
It only steals one piece of art. Like this house has tons of art all over it, but he just steals the one. He just
yeah,
takes the one.
yeah.
I'll tell you what I'm digging about her stories actually. Between the first one and this one, and it really made me think of video games a little bit, specifically the Batman video games, or even something like Witcher, or any game that's got like a detective vision. When she goes into a
Hmm.
room where there's been it's in the first story, it's when she goes into the room where all the kids have been like sealing off the room, and then this one it's
Right.
when she goes into the bedroom. There's like little notes, and it's kind of still narration. It's still kind of her thoughts, but it's in a different color, and it's like labeling parts of the scene, the crime scene.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh, so over here someone tried to closed it at the bottom of the door. Over here someone's broken the window. Like, like it's labeling all the little details in the crime scene because that's how her mind works. I actually really like that. It's a really simple little touch, but I thought that worked.
No, it does. Yeah, I'm going back at it now. I noticed it when I first read it, but I forgot until you just
Yeah.
mentioned it. But no, yeah.
So the little styles, it's almost like a Sherlock-esque kind of vision where there's these little details have been labeled around the
pop
panel.
up.
And it would obviously get tiring if it was like all over the place, but I think it's neat that just, you know, the one or two main pages where she goes into like a crime scene, it's like, okay, here's all the things. I like that. That was a neat little touch. And obviously, again, she's going to be the writer going forward, so this will probably be a thing for a while in the run. So I'm cool with that. I'm down. So that just leaves the Denny story to get into. Which you know, I'm surprised to say this, but I actually think this was the weakest one of the book.
Yeah, it was weird. I felt like it would have belonged in an annual just as a filler. So, but it also felt like it would have been a cool episode of Batman the Animated Series.
We actually
just Batgirl.
We actually have an annual coming up in 2 weeks' time.
Yeah.
we have the next issue plus the annual in 2 weeks. We've got a lot of Batgirl on week 5 this month. But yeah, so it's this story where not Mad Hatter, we have March Harriet, his lady friend, who is trying to come back, and most of the issue is actually her, like she's actually giving herself up, and she's telling Batgirl the story of why she wants revenge on this business guy, and it turned out, you know, she fell for this girl when she first moved here, and she ended up dead when they tried to steal from him, and this is why she wanted revenge. And then the sort of twist at the end, it's very Saw-tooth. She's actually locked the guy inside the safe and was wanting to suffocate, but Batgirl figures it out, of course. And I couldn't help but feel like, don't tell Batgirl your story. She's going to figure out whatever you're doing. You're just giving her details. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
Stop it a fool.
But she wanted to be caught, you know? Like, it's fine.
And then, of course, she ends up escaping police custody, and Batgirl goes chasing, and that's kind of the end. There's not a whole lot to it. It's fine, like, it's not bad, but, like, after, like, I feel like the first story had a really good emotional impact. The second one was a really nice sort of breather and had the Dick Bab stuff. The setup for the main arc was kind of like, oh, okay, we've got this really bad serial killer, and Babs has to, like, be proper detective. Like, they all had their own hook, whereas this one I felt like was like, oh, it was a fine filler story, but it wasn't something I felt needed, you know, like, yeah.
Yeah, I like Danny, but yeah, like I said, it's a filler. Like, I don't need it per se. So
that said, like,
that's fine.
Out of 4 stories, I really like 3 of them. Like, I outright loved them, actually, in most cases. And then there's one that's just, it's fine. That's not bad. That's not bad going for one of these bigger issues.
Yeah.
So
I like the idea of March Harriet. Like, that was a really cool idea, especially with the Wonderland and whatnot. So, but yeah, I mean, the art, Paul Pelletier, I like Pelletier a lot.
Was it Pelletier getting that last one?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay, cool.
So,
wait, are you sure?
I believe so.
I think it was. No, I think it was. Was it not?
Hold on, I'm checking.
I'm sure it was something. Cause I remember looking at it and
Oh no, Paul Pelletier was the one before.
Yeah, it's Lupacino.
It's Lupacino. That's why I liked it so much. Yeah. So. Yeah, no, Pelletier was the one right before it with Grotesque, and that's who's gonna be. Which I like that art though too. So.
Oh yeah, me too. I mean, admittedly, the last story probably has the best art, but is the worst story. So you know, trade off, I guess. But I really like Batgirl issue 25. Like, I was really into the vast majority of it, and I'm excited for the new run now. You know, I was almost thinking, oh, you know, Larson's run ended. We're starting a new run. Like, you know, like, is it going to go downhill? Is this something that can be cut? And I'm reading this, and I'm like, nah, I'm into this. Like, this is solid.
Yeah.
We seem to be on fire. If anything, Larson's got some competition here, but this might not be as cut and dry as I thought it was going to be. Which is good. So, what are you rating it, Matt? What are you giving Batgirl 2025?
Man, so you have to take in the different stories to account, right? So there's one that was weak. So, man, this one's tough. You go first, and I'll base it off of that, because I could go one two ways.
Yeah, I'm going to go with a 9. Like, I like, as much as I didn't like the last one as much, like, I think the first 3, and specifically the fact that they're the ones leading into the new run, and the emotional impact of that first story, like, 9 out of 10 from me.
Yeah, so then I'll go with an 8.
If anything, my only complaints about the stories that I did like was that I maybe didn't love the art as much as I would have liked. Like I thought there was a couple of weird facial expressions here or there, especially in the first story, which it was probably the best story, but it did have maybe the weakest art of the bunch. Just in facing and stuff, but it wasn't terrible by any means. It was just wasn't popping. It wasn't like but hey, so all right, okay, 9 and 8. That's pretty solid. All right, so have no fear, Batgirl will still be covered with a new run seemingly, and the next issue plus the annual are both in 2 weeks' time, so we get a double dose of Batgirl. So that will take us on to the other Bat Lady though. That is Batwoman number 18. Which I've been kind of down on, but it was one issue left, so this is the final issue. It was worth reading the final one, just seeing how it was.
Oh, okay.
So last issue we set up Clock King had these like clock bots.
Of course he did.
They were selling drugs and whatnot, and attacked Rennie and Montoya. This was the fight with him, which just kind of goes as you'd expect it to, and then basically just the epilogue section of the book.
Okay.
That you'd expect, it's the epilogue where she's talking about her experiences. She has to reference everything that's happened in the book so far. She took this year out to go and do all this stuff and track down Sophia and like realizing this is just the start of her story. I think my main problem with this is one, I do feel that Bennett sometimes puts far too much on the page. Like there's a 2-page spread towards the end where it's her kind of like just summing up. Batwoman's just in the narration summing up all of her feelings, and it's like 2 pages with like 25 caption boxes, and I just couldn't help but feel like you could make this succinct in about 3 or 4 boxes. We don't need this many, and that so like as much as I appreciate all the epilogue stuff, it felt very generic in terms of an epilogue. It's like, oh, she like her and Rennie might start dating again. It kind of implies that there's like it's kind of obvious what what it's doing, and that's basically it. Because it was like Clock King has his drug kind of lets you see like a possible future, and she envisions her and Renee together and having dinner with Julia and her sister and all the rest of it. And she even sees some other stuff. She sees like Tim and Steph driving. It's just kind of like, oh, here's what's happening with the rest of the Bat family right now, as she's seeing this. It was okay. Kind of like Batwoman's been for a little while. It was okay.
I mean, this Batwoman run's been all over the place.
Yeah,
it started
high.
And it's kind of just coasted down into what it is, and that's a shame because this is a character that's gaining prominence. You kind of want a good series out there.
I'll bet you anything. If the TV show starts, there'll be a new Batwoman book around that time.
Without a doubt. I wouldn't surprise me if we go 6 months and then there'll be some other kind of Batwoman book, whether it's her leading a team or what,
Batwoman's going to be in the crossover in like December, so I mean that maybe feels too soon to relaunch a Batwoman book, but maybe she'll end up in Outsiders, maybe she'll end up somewhere else, who knows, but it's just kind of okay. I'm kind of like, I was thinking about dropping it 3 or 4 issues ago, and then I found out it was ending. I thought, well, I'll finish it now, but I am kind of glad that I don't have to. It felt like it was that final book this week where it was like, okay, this is the last one. I put it off to the end, and when I'm constantly putting off the same book to the end, I know there's something going on here. So I'm kind of relieved to have it be off the list, but. Not that it was terrible by any means. It was, it's a 6.
No, but
it's a 6 out of 10.
When you go through as many books as we do, when something feels like filler, you kind of want to drop it. So,
Yeah, I guess that's the thing. It felt like filler. It has felt like filler for a while, which is a shame. But hey ho. So that was Batwoman 18, short and sweet. Which takes out the last book of the week, which is Aquaman 39. Dan Abnett writing, Joe Bennett on the art. This is the second part of this crossover, not the final part.
Nope.
Got more of this next month. But so Aquaman decides not to tell Mairghread that he suspects there's foul plague going on in Atlantis, and he goes to investigate, and he ends up taking Dolphin and the head of the armory, or Beastmaster, whatever he's called.
It's Jurgens.
There you go.
Jurgens,
that dude,
Dolphin.
I can't remember his name.
He's my favorite. I like that dude.
And then Undine, who's obviously one of the recurring characters we've had this run. Which is cool. I love that there's a great supporting cast for Aquaman now. I love that I can name a bunch of Aquaman characters outside of.
I was just gonna say that because they all feel like it makes sense. Of course, he would take Biss. Like he can't bring Merc. Merc's on security. He's on dispatch duty.
Yep.
Watching everything. So yeah.
Yeah.
And then Suicide Squad gets involved. Um,
And yeah, they capture Deadshot and Harley, and Master Jailer's determined to. Or no, it's Saturninus who's determined to blow up
so,
the nuke. He's still determined to do it, regardless. But so Mira's pissed at Arthur for not telling him, because she finds out and she's like, Arthur, where have you been? You've been avoiding me, and why are you not telling me these things? He's like, oh, you've got deniability, and I'm trying to protect you, and I don't want to ruin your brain. He's like, no, I want you by me, you idiot. Stop it. So they're going to.
yeah, but he makes a lot of good points about like, well, now you're gonna have to retaliate because the U.S. government set up
Yeah.
a group, but they're gonna disavow them. So you're kind of between a rock and a hard place, you know.
Well, her response is, well, we'll have to do something under the table, shady, then in return.
Yeah, but man, two wrongs don't make a right, you know.
Oh, sure, yeah. I mean, I get that. And I feel like at this point, Aquaman should know well enough that the Suicide Squad is just Waller. Like, they should just go after
Yeah.
Waller, hold her accountable, and just deal
Uh-huh.
with it that way. But whatever. So that's kind of the end of the issue. Is that Mira's saying, now we're going to do some shady tactics as well. We'll do some black ops, and then we'll see
Yep.
how it goes. But it's an okay issue. I didn't necessarily love it. I thought the art was kind of weird. Like,
Yeah,
it feels like
it's not what I come to expect in Aquaman for art.
yeah, we're definitely away from the Federici who's been doing the art, and I feel like we probably will be now because I mean obviously that's just a crossover, and then we have the setup issue for the Drowned, and then presumably
Right.
the Conic's coming on soon after that.
Yep.
So, yeah, the art was a bit spotty, and the crossover's great. I mean, I'm invested because I'm so invested in Aquaman's world right now because of the previous arcs, and I've been really into it, and I care about Dolphin and Mark and everything else, but.
I did like Deadshot and Harley interacting with Dolphin and Aquaman. Like that didn't feel annoying like in the Suicide Squad issue.
Sure.
But that might just because of Abnett is I prefer to Rob Williams.
Yeah, Harley tried to like banter with Dolphin. She's like, "What am I going to have to do? Both sides of the mid fight banter? Is that what's happening here?" I was like, "Yeah, that's cute."
Yeah.
Yeah.
And also Dolphin using the full effect of her the flashbang basically, and Harley talking about how she can't see.
Bioluminescence, I believe, is the
her bioluminescence. But the way that she used it, it was it was like a flashbang, and Harley just continually talking how they could literally be anywhere, and she wouldn't know.
Yeah,
because
her image is starting to clear up a little bit by the end, but she's still really blurry. Yeah, that's not.
Yeah,
it was a fair issue. This was like I would say like 6.5 for me.
Yeah, 6 for me. The art wasn't where it should have been, and
my problem with the art was it looked really flat. Like everything felt flat. There was no depth.
Yeah, well, because since 25, where you had Sejic come in, there was a sense of depth to Aquaman, which makes sense. And here, that's gone. Federici kept it going.
Yeah, I don't even know if it's just compared to previous Aquaman, though. I feel like there's just like a really flatness to this image in the book. It's like just some weird. Actually, the variant as well, which the variant with Mira on the throne, like it looks very good, apart from the fact that her face looks really weirdly stuck onto the rest of it. It's like it's weird.
Yeah.
Like the detail and everything else looks great, and then her face just feels really. It's like someone's photoshopped their head onto another person's body.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. It looks like bad Photoshop.
Yeah, that's what it looks like.
Yeah.
So bizarre, but hey, there you go. That's that's what you have. So yeah, well, obviously we'll start with the crossover. We'll get the next part. Is the next part in Suicide Squad next month? Is that?
I believe so.
Okay, guess we're reading Suicide Squad again. That's weird.
I wish I wasn't.
Well, not long left now, Matt. We're almost out of the.
No, I know.
Out of the shit. But that was the last book, which does mean that we're on to picking our favourites of the week, which do consist of best panel / moment, best cover, best art, and our top 5 books. So no, that's fun. So best panel / moment, best panel / moment. Oh, your mic's going, Matt. Oh, everyone's going all at once. I'm speaking nonsense. Matt's mic's fighting back. Cyborg Superman's invaded and controlling it.
Doom.
Yeah, Doom.
Yeah.
So.
There
you go, Matt.
So my panel comes from Justice League, and it's it's Barry learning to slow down and just be still. There's two. There's one of him sitting there, and then there's the reverse where you can kind of see from behind him, and he's sitting in like that lotus pose, and it's really cool just to see Flash not moving. Like there's and Jimenez, I almost called him Jimenez because I'm dumb sometimes. Jimenez did a really good job at like a good artist can always make Flash feel energetic, right, with the poses. But this pose was perfect for like stillness. Like I bought that Flash is slowing down.
Yeah. No, I can't argue with that one. It's tempted to go with the White Lantern at the end, but I think I have to go with Batman. I have to go with that 2-page Batman in the darkness looking up and seeing Catwoman for like a second in the night on the fire escape. There's emotionally that just hits the right moment, and it's beautiful to look at, of course. So no, that's what wins out for me. Best cover of the week. I never think about this in advance, and I really should, because I could pick this before I even read the books. I mean,
yeah, right.
So I should. Batgirl's variant's quite good. The eyes are a little bit on the creepy side, but it's pretty good.
I like the Batgirl just regular cover.
Oh, the regular cover's nice as well. Yeah.
Pretty sure it's Albuquerque.
It looks like Albuquerque. Yeah.
It's a nice throwback to the start of the run, where he was doing all the art.
Yeah. No, absolutely.
Oh, yeah. But the Green Lantern one's pretty cool because it looks like one of those Saul Bass pieces from the '60s, like the title. You know. So like it reminds me a lot of Vertigo, like that opening sequence. But Batman also with the negative space of, you know, it looks like it's Bruce standing there on a gargoyle, but then you look inside and there's more going on with him and Selena, like. So.
Oh, you know what? I'll go with the regular Batgirl. No, I'm really looking at them and thinking about it.
Yep, that's my pick too. Since I saw it was Albuquerque, that's what it was going to be. But I was just trying to give out other options.
Yeah, no. Some good stuff. So top art of the week then.
This one's tough because there's two. There's really two.
Yeah, it's Batman and Justice League, right? Those are the two that you're fighting between. I think I have to go with Batman. I have to go with Lee Weeks, and I think the reason for that is because I feel like there was some really good emotional moments in the art that really sang. Whereas Justice League is typically fantastic. A couple of little things here or there that didn't quite, work, but for the most part, looked very good. But I think Lee Weeks on Batman was hitting the emotion for me, and I think that's always impressive for an artist. Yeah,
and I agree with all of that. Again, I said it the last two times. It feels like a Brubaker and Phillips.
Oh book. Yeah, it's very moody, and like you say, that 2 pages with all the villains, the colors, all that stuff.
So it nails it. So yeah.
My mic arm is now squeaking when
I thought that was one of the cats.
I think I need to tighten the screw a little bit. Hold on. There we go. That's fixed it. Right. So top 5 books of the week then. Top 5 books. Matt.
So number 1 is Justice League. No, wait, Batman. Trying to remember my rankings. I think it's Batman. Yeah. And then Justice League, and then Batgirl, and then Green Lanterns, and man, that doesn't leave me with a whole lot. Then I guess Aquaman. I only read 5. Yeah.
Yeah, you read 5.
There
you go.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to put Batgirl number 1 actually. Batgirl surprised me, impressed me. Batman's at number 2. Justice League at number 3. Green Lanterns at number 4. Aquaman at number 5. Yeah, less books this week, so number 5 is a bit of a weird placement, but yeah. So there you go. That is the top books of the week, which does lead me to tell you what's coming next week. So let me get my list up. So next week we have Detective Comics 987, Action Comics 1002, Wonder Woman 53, which we may get to. I still haven't read 52. If I get time to squeeze that in, I might catch up and read 53 as well.
Uh-oh.
But no promises. Matt, stall for a second. I'm taking a drink.
Yep. Okay. So did you say Terrifics number 7? Because that's also coming out.
That is true. That's a weird order though. I was going to go with Flash to number 53 next.
That's fine.
And then Justice League Dark number 2.
Yeah.
And then you mentioned Terrific, so then I'll say Silence at number 8. We also have issue 1 of a miniseries, Batman Kings of Fear, which we'll probably check out and see how that is.
Yeah.
So that's cool. Also coming out that we're not covering is Teen Titans 21, Batman Beyond 23, and Raven Daughter of Darkness number 7. So those are also out next week. But that is what's coming up on the show next week. So you can look forward to that. Look forward to the books. It's weird to me that they delayed Batgirl number 20, unless they just had to because it wasn't ready. But because it would make more sense to me to have a Batgirl out once per week rather than having 2 out in week 5. But you know, whatever.
Yeah.
Just do your thing, DC. Whatever.
Yeah. Fix it.
Mind. Anyway, so that's the show. So that has been Comics from the Multiverse, episode 117. You can, of course, let us know what you thought of the books in the comments and stuff. Keep in mind, we'll be asking for questions again come week 5. Let us know what you thought of the books. Like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. But of course, we have to mention patreon.com/MailedFuzzTV. You can go over there and support the show, support everything we do. And you can become a patron. You get some bonuses. At the $5 tier, you get the access to the monthly episode, as well as voting every so often. Every time there's a week 5 month, we put a vote out for that book, which is a trade paperback, graphic novel, whatever you want to call them. And me and Connor talk about that. So you can support us over there. And if you can't do that, don't feel too bad. You can support us over there for as little as $1 if you want to. And if you can't do that, just give us a good rating, like, subscribe, all the usual stuff. Even turn off your ad block if you're watching on YouTube, and let the ads play. Like, that seriously does help. So all of that is a good idea. So thank you very much once again for watching or listening. We always appreciate it. Connor will be back next week, unfortunately. So
always sounds like a threat.
It does, doesn't it? So he's back then. But that is us. Otherwise, thank you very much once again. We will see you next time. Keep reading DC Comics, guys, and always remember to never get lost in the Speed Force.
You gotta bounce that off your dick.
What was that?